You got messages going on already? What is going on here? Welcome back to the Goat Cave podcast. Today, we have quite the episode ahead of us, of course, with Brakeless Drew. But before we jump into that, last time I had Beatrice from the Bloom, an all-girls BMX media company. What an awesome time with her. She told us a lot about ladies BMX and just her story of riding. I definitely suggest going and checking that out. It was really cool. And a lot of people were in the live stream, which was awesome. It was like, when I do it at night, it's a lot better because people can really chat and they can ask questions and everything. Whereas during the day, typically people are doing stuff. So, And then later tonight, I actually sit down with one of the legends in BMX, Chris Doyle. I'm super excited for that. Chris has been one of the biggest names in BMX for over 20 years. And, I just can't wait to hear some of the stories that he has. We go live at 9 p.m. tonight.
Can't wait to hear it.
Oh, dude, it's going to be fucking crazy. I'm like, this is the first time that I've done 2 in a day. So I'm like, hopefully I don't talk myself silly, And then I got one tomorrow too, with When the Trip Hits.
He's
Zach.
Awesome.
He's fucking ridiculous. Yeah. So I can't wait for that. And then on Family Day Monday, I actually have some BMX fam coming in. We got Justin Parsons and Caleb Smith from London. They're part of my crew. Both had parts in Space Goats, so join in on that. Justin's like a balance king. He's so good on a bike just so unreal. So definitely tune in for that. Sorry, 1 second here. How's everything going so far? Looks good. Cool. Today we have a guest who's been around for over 15 years, quietly killing it in the streets. He has an awesome tech style and really brings out the fun side of BMX. Being a bigger guy hasn't slowed him down, and he has even won the most prestigious award in BMX, Rider of the Day at the HVXgoat Money Talks Jam. Oh. How he balances being a rider, a metal band, and having a family, we will never know. Brakeless Drew, everyone.
How's it going?
Fucking pretty good, man. How are you?
Very good. It's nice to be here.
Hell yeah. Want to crack open one of those?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, grab me a green can. I like those things.
These are from the
Collective Arts.
My hometown.
Yeah, thanks for bringing these in, man. Before we jump into this, Jeff actually, he was on a couple episodes ago.
Yeah, Jeff, the man.
He brought me a gift today. So I want to open it on stream and just,
It's a lovely present.
For sure. Sorry, 1 second.
That's all right.
Pour this beer. Yeah, Jeff, thank you for giving me something. I don't know what it is. I feel like it's a framed dick pic. So I'm kind of like, it would be hilarious if it was.
It may or may not be.
Yeah. So what is this? We've got framed dick pic only for Cam's eyes. Maybe the kitty's too. It's fragile. Whoa. Whoa. That is so fucking cool, man.
Yeah.
Oh my god. That is awesome.
Yeah.
Whoa. Did he show you this or no?
No, he just told me about it.
That's awesome. Comes with an FBM sticker. Jeff, dude. Oh my god. Thank you.
I'm pretty sure he said something about Crandall painting that.
Yeah, it looks like Crandall did this. It's got the... Yeah. Oh my god.
That's pretty incredible.
Dude, holy shit. This actually means so much to me, Jeff. Thank you so much.
It's amazing.
Holy shit. I like the broken horn. That's fucking cool.
Yeah.
Damn, dude. That's awesome. Do you want to set that over there? I don't want to break it.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh my god, Jeff, thank you so much, dude.
That's a wall hanger for life right there.
Absolutely. That's going up on the wall at some point soon. So
get that in the corner.
Yeah, right? Jeff, oh my god. Thank you, dude. That was so nice of you. I've been getting so many presents, dude.
I actually brought a present for you, too.
Oh my god.
I made this for you.
Oh, dude.
It's ancient Viking runes on the beads, and I used the link of gold chain for...
That's awesome. Hell yeah, I'll have to fucking throw this on. I don't know how to do that, but yeah, I'll do that later. Dude, thank you so much.
Pleasure, man.
Yeah, and then Beatrice last week gave me these cool pins.
Yeah, those are awesome. I saw them online.
Yeah, take a few. These are incredible, man. I'm actually I'm doing some stuff soon where I'm just going to give out a bunch of shit to all the listeners.
That's cool.
So a bunch of listeners are going to get some, Goat Cave pins. They're going to get some stickers from the Space Brace. And,
Cool.
also Adam Maroka is going to give you some stuff. Just
Nice.
Anybody that's done the show pretty much has something to give, which is nice. But yeah, and then last week we had Mike Gray, and he gave me a new set of Space Braces. I was like, oh my God.
That's awesome.
And like the
he's
wrist
a
brace.
solid dude.
Oh my God, dude. Yeah. Nicest guy.
Yeah, and the funny thing, the one time I met him was riding the X Jam in Toronto a couple years ago. I entered pro as a joke because it was thought it'd be funny to ride with Jeff in a pro contest, and Mike Gray was one of the few guys that were killing it that didn't look down their nose at me because I was just some random dude riding some pro contest.
Yeah, man, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Like, and riding pro at those events is actually kind of a big deal. There's a lot of kids that they're at pro level, but they'll enter into the amateur just because they want to sandbag.
Yeah.
That shit's like so not cool.
And like I thought of entering amateur, but I'm like, well, I don't want to place well. Like I do not want to ride on Sunday. I'm gonna be too sore. I want to come and just relax and have a few beers and watch them ride. Right.
That's so cool.
So, it was good. I did not place last in a pro contest.
That's fucking awesome.
That's like my lifetime achievement.
Hell yeah.
Other than the HVX Rider of the Year.
Oh, of course. You need to have that.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. So let's go back to when you first started riding. How did you get started?
Well, I started riding bikes as long as I can remember. I know I started... I learned on a two-wheeler before we moved to the east end of Hamilton, and that was in '89. So
hell yeah.
But riding BMX, taking it seriously, was I was 10th grade in high school. I met a couple guys that rode BMX at my school, and that was
just kind of where it started, eh?
Yeah.
Do any of those guys still ride or no?
I don't know. Kevin Kuzdak, he rides mountain bike nowadays. But we got to get him back on a BMX. And then another guy, I haven't heard from him in a few years. His name's Jim Bloom. If you're out there, bud, look me up. We started riding, and then not too long after that, Jeff got his first BMX. The first time we met him was on his trials bike downtown at the Art Gallery. And
that was like the funniest thing was hearing Jeff talk about trials riding and all this stuff. And before we did the show, Adam Maroka was like, hey, you should go back and try and find a photo of skinny trial rider Jeff.
Yeah.
And I found it and I was like, oh, I don't want to throw that in there, but it's hilarious. So
yeah, it's funny how riding trials has affected his style so much.
Absolutely, man. He seriously is such a unreal rider.
Yeah.
I have an idea that I'm going to do this summer. I'm starting a website, so let me know what you think of this idea. But I'm going to do a all or nothing game of bike, basically, where winner takes all. Cool. So I'm just going to say, anybody that wants to join the game, $10.
Yeah.
You get placed against people that will be evenly matched, and then fucking you keep going on and on and on, and then the winner of the, all the rounds ends up winning however much people put in. I think that'd be kind of a cool idea.
That sounds badass.
Yeah, so I'm like, if Jeff fucking joined in on that, oh my God.
He won't be winning with some money.
He'll definitely be winning something. Yeah. I'm like, damn, that'd be fucking cool. I think people would really like that though. And I'm gonna film it so everybody will have a full game of bike with somebody. I'll film all of it. I'll get thrown on the site.
Yep.
That's kind of something I came up with this week, and I'm like, I kind of like that idea. So
yeah,
I feel like it'd be cool.
Well, it's funny. I didn't even really learn to bunny hop that well until after meeting Jeff. So it's coming up riding with him. It's funny how much that alone has affected my style in the way, like you mentioned, being kind of a tech guy, And being kind of bigger leads to staying low to the ground. So
of course,
having tech abilities is what keeps the fun things, right?
You have a lot of really cool shit, and you do actually go pretty big on stuff too. I got some clips later. There's a clip of you doing this Jersey barrier thing, and it's fucking gnarly, and it's so mid school. I watched that clip and I was like, oh my God, that is so you can tell the era of BMX that you grew up.
Yeah, and it's funny looking back at the clip that I have there. I didn't even really think about how tall that was off the ground until I watched the footage back afterwards, and when I landed, that my head goes below the height of the ledge.
Oh yeah,
I was kind of taken aback that.
Yeah, it's such a cool fucking clip, man. And then there's another one what you did here in town at the Cortland School Bank with the sub rail.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that one was cool.
I love that sub rail.
Yeah, and then there's some clips of you in Space Goats that we're gonna show too, and those ones are nuts.
Yeah.
Like seriously, some of my favorite clips.
Mine too.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Can you remember the first bike that you ever owned?
Well, the first bike that I got right after I met those guys in high school, I didn't have a job. I worked at McDonald's for a couple months and quit because I wanted to ride every day. But that led to not being able to get a really good bike. So
Yeah.
My first was a department store bike. I had a Hyper Demo from Canadian Tire.
Nice.
And then that winter, that had broken already. So I got a Diamondback Juju Complete from Springy's Bicycle that no longer exists in Hamilton. And then after that, it was just part replacement after part replacement constantly. The first real BMX frame I had was the FBM Angel of Death that I got from Jeff. That was the first real bike I had that I rode. I had bought an original McNeil J. Miron, rode it for a week, and traded it to Jeff for the Angel of Death. So it was all downhill after that.
Yeah, those fucking FBM frames are the way to go.
Yeah.
And like you being a metal guy, you need the Angel of Death frame. It's just that's the way that it is.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And then you're riding a BTM right now, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
BTM.
Those things are really cool.
It's fantastic.
It's a Hoder's Pro frame.
Yeah, that's right. I got it because of the tiny dropouts, because I grind a whole lot, and I've never had anything but problems with dropouts sticking out. Actually, the BTM was my first frame replacement I made by choice, because I didn't need I had not broken my previous bike, which was the original Sunday frame.
Yeah, and I'm kind of the same way where I have never actually bought a bike by choice. It's always that I've broken it and then I need a new one, so I have to find something.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know why I've never done that. Maybe I'll do that this year. I've replaced forks and stuff after, knocking my teeth out, snapping forks. I try and replace forks every 2 years.
I've never snapped forks.
Wow.
But
it fucking sucks, dude.
Because that Sunday bike, I had the Odyssey Director forks on it, and I rode that bike hard almost every day for 10 years, and it's fine.
Really? The Directors too, eh?
They're a stock angle.
That's fucking crazy. I always heard people try and tell me that my Directors were raked out.
No,
and
100% no.
I never thought they were, because
Never.
I was a skinny kid when I had those, like 120 pounds.
Yeah, I was riding them that day at the HVX jam.
Yeah.
And man, I was over 300 pounds, and I was sending it, and they're fine. Odyssey, that 41 thermal, because they made the Sunday frame too, the original Sunday frame. It's mint. Like 10 years of a 300-pound guy riding that, and it's fine.
Hell yeah, man. Jim C, if you're listening.
Yeah, shout out.
Good job, dude. He's actually, he was going to do the podcast a couple months ago. He's going to do it. I know he will. But he was in Toronto recently, and we were going to try and meet up, and just wasn't able to make it work. So
yeah, well, hopefully one day soon, because that would be one conversation I'd like to be flying on the wall for, bud.
Yeah, it'd be incredible,
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. So who were some of the riders that you looked up to growing up?
Well, there's for pro-wise, I would say Brian Wismerski, Edwin De La Rosa. That was like Edwin's part in Etnies Forward, like, changed my life, man. And as far as local guys go, Andrew Gobo and Jeff Robertson, they were the first guys that I met that rode.
Yeah.
And then one day the first time I went to Shell Park, I was lucky enough to see Josh Cameron ride for the first time, and it changed my outlook on what's possible on a bike. And it's funny, like, me and Josh are actually really good friends now, so it's pretty cool that he was my hero as a kid, and now we're good friends. So
hell yeah, man, that's so cool. Yeah. Did you listen to the episode with Cole Dow?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, so you know about the Shell bathrooms then.
I heard about it after the fact. While riding there, that was something that never came up for some reason.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. They're probably like, oh, he's going into the washrooms, guys.
I always peed in the bushes. I don't know. I wouldn't have ventured that far to go to the washroom there.
Oh,
I'm glad I didn't, now that I heard that story.
Yeah. So anybody that's listening to this that didn't listen to the Cole Dow episode, it was a rumor at Shell Park for years that they had a glory hole in the washroom and that, like, these higher up people were going to these washrooms and shit. So then everybody was like, "Oh, stay away from the shell washrooms." Oh man, so good.
Yep.
So earlier you mentioned that you're a big dude,
Yeah.
and how has being a heavier guy affected your riding? Would you say?
Well, I've spent a lot of time focusing on technique to avoid hitting the ground. Gravity really likes me, so when I hit, I'm usually not okay. I've had some pretty bad ones over the years, like over 30 fractures, some worse than others, most minor, like most are tape it up and keep riding, but I've had some bad ones, man.
Wow. Yeah, that's fucking definitely being a heavier guy, obviously you're going to hit the ground a lot harder.
Yeah.
And something that I always hear from people is just the fact that like, I've heard it from plenty of heavier people. Oh, I can't ride because I'm fat, or oh, I can't do it because I'm fat. And honestly, I hate that, because like yourself and Trevor May are the perfect example of big dudes that fucking shred.
Yeah, there's no excuse for anything. If you say you can't do something because you're fat, you're wrong. You can't do it because you won't. That's all it is. It's a choice. You either do it or don't. It's like after that day that we rode the first time you showed me around your sweet town here. I was over 300 pounds. That's after that day. I had such a good day and was so motivated to ride that I drilled diet and a bit of exercise. I lost 60 pounds in 3 months, man. And like I plateaued. I've gained some back. Like I've struggled with weight my whole life, but I'm still in better shape than I was then. And it's just a choice. It's all it comes down to. Like.
Yeah, dude, that's such a really good point, Like it really is all in your head. And like you were saying, I've fucking bitched out on plenty of things and made excuses for it. It's just I can't make that excuse, right? So
Yeah.
I think no matter what, people have excuses, which I get it. Sometimes shit is just scary or you just don't want to do it.
Yeah.
But like it is one of those things that don't use that to limit yourself, because you won't. Like literally the biggest bike company right now is Cult, I would say. You know who Cult is owned by? Robbie Morales.
Yeah.
That dude is fucking huge.
Yeah,
Like watching his watching his Fit Life part is incredible, because the dude is huge, like easily over 300 pounds, and fucking destroys it on a bike. Like huge jumps, huge manuals, like the biggest street transition tricks, like just fucking crazy, man. Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, incredible balance for being a top heavy fellow. I know how that goes.
Yeah, man. Let's jump into some of these clips. I want to do that. So I pulled up some clips and photos. I think it's all clips actually. I just want to grab some backstory from you.
Yeah, definitely.
So let's talk about this first one, which is the Forbes rail over back over. So just give me 1 second to pull these up. Okay.
Oh yeah, this is one of my favorite tricks I've ever done.
Yeah, it's a really good fucking trick, eh? Here we go. All right, so... And that is seriously such a good rail to do it on.
Yeah.
That rail is like literally the perfect setup.
Yeah.
I don't know if you knew this, but it actually they just chopped half of it off. So they have the one that was before it. If anybody doesn't know what this setup is, it's two rails on a bank.
It's just a chill.
Yeah,
flat bank.
it's just a really chill, small flat bank with these really small rails. It's seriously the perfect spot.
Yeah.
And like we don't even go there unless it's like 9 o'clock at night, because it's lit for one. And during the day, it's just something where the whole crew, like everybody in Kitchener, knows you don't go there because
it's heat score for sure.
It's a huge heat score, and we want to keep that spot around for as long as we can. Like I've literally gone there, rode for like 3 hours, and then left and never had an issue.
Yep.
Going there during the jams was always something where it's like, that's once a year that we do it. So, yeah, it was Yeah, that's a fucking awesome trick.
So this clip happened after the first time you took me there.
Yeah, I assumed that it was you probably came out with like I think you came out with Gabe the one day.
Yeah, that's right. It was Gabe and Cole and Stefan, I think. I don't remember who else. I was so jazzed on
Does
that.
does Cole still ride?
Yeah,
I know he collects like mid-school bikes, which is so cool.
I actually donated him a bunch of stuff. He finished up a couple bikes with some of the parts I gave him. So
that's sick.
Because he had a DK Iron Cross sprocket, and I had the pedals to match it. So he's got that together on the standard. I think it's
that's
great.
sick, man. Yeah, Cole is such a cool guy too. Yeah. He's very. It's hard to describe his style of riding. I think it's just Hamilton. You know, like
I would say Hamilton surfer. Like just the way his style is, like it's like he's got like. Sometimes when he's like even carving, like it looks like if he would just throw his hand down and like drag it on the asphalt.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like that would be suited for just the style he has. You know.
Oh, absolutely, man. Cole is seriously like such a cool dude. He collects bikes, which is awesome. Yeah. I gotta talk to him and see if he'd want to do it. He's kind of a quieter guy, though.
Yeah, and he's working a lot now. He's got a family now too.
Yeah, so, he does.
That impacts the bike time for sure.
Yeah, well, we'll definitely jump into that later. Yeah. I wrote some stuff just about being like, you know, a father and having to actually like ride, work a job, have kids, everything, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll jump into that in a bit. Cool. But yeah, we have this Cortland bottom bracket stall to fakie that I want to show.
This was the same day.
That's so cool, eh? And I think at the jam you were trying to do it with a bar spin in it as well.
That's right. As soon as the first time I saw that setup when we went there at the jam, that was the trick that I called out in my mind was sprocket bar fakie. I couldn't even get the sprocket at the day of the jam, and that day that took about 15 tries. And
damn,
it was so strange because that was only the second round rail that I've done that trick on. So to get the balance to toss the bars and then be able to catch them and pull back,
it's fucking hard.
And like that's gonna be the quickest bar on earth. Like you got to be on and off that rail because it's round. There's no
there's no balance. There isn't anything to kind of hold on to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And like a lot of people don't know this, but this bank in video, this is no justice to it because the bank is steep as fuck. It's the like worst concrete ever. The rail is actually I don't know if it was like this at the time, but it's starting to fall back into it. So like the rail literally sits in past the top of the bank.
Yeah, it's tight.
Yeah, it's tight. Super fucking weird to ride.
The ground's like a cheese grater.
Yeah, cheese grater, and it's all uphill, like up to it. So it's just it's ridiculous.
It's funny in that clip. It looks so like such a chill spot, and when you're riding it, it is not.
Yeah, it's so hard to actually get a good run on it, and I'm always worried that they're gonna rip that out because it's old.
Yeah,
and like they just recently replaced some stuff at that school. They haven't taken that out, and I'm kind of like, it's coming, dude. That spot, it's seriously a legendary spot. Yeah. I wish that I could pull up some photos right now, but John Heaton did a crazy toothpick stall on it. People have foo-fanooed it. Yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah, there's been so many like legends that have hit that spot. You know, it actually has a lot of history behind it.
Yep.
Yeah, I want to start doing like a local history thing where I talk about like the history of certain spots around here.
Oh, we could do a whole episode on Hamilton alone, man.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Even just on spots that are gone.
Yeah.
Like in the last 20 years, that city has changed so much. There's epic spots that I got stories about, man.
There's always like such a weird thing when a spot dies. You know what I mean? Like when a spot gets taken away or it's been ripped out.
Yeah.
It's always really strange to think about, you know, because like to anybody else, they're like, oh, well, it was run down. It's good that it's gone. But to BMX riders or skaters, it really kind of like hits you somewhere, you know? You're like, fuck, dude, I don't get to ride that place ever again, you know? And a lot of the time they're building stuff ready to be capped now, you know, and like make it so that you can't ride it. So I don't know.
That's why I keep your fingers crossed for the oblivious developers that don't cap rails.
Yeah.
In Hamilton, I'd say one of the most legendary spots that's no longer there is the post office downtown. That I saw Jeff mentioned maybe this guy Johnny from way back in the day. Seeing him jump that rail, the bank was like maybe 2 feet high and like ridiculously steep. Like you could barely, like all I've ever did on it was go up the bank, and it was like a 3-stage handrail, and the top was like 4.5 feet. I double pegged the middle, and I saw this Johnny guy jump and blast over that rail.
Whoa,
like, it
dude.
was crazy.
Yeah, it's always like really weird to just think about all the local legends, you know? Like people that are really good and they're throwing down shit that like nobody can do,
Yeah.
but it never goes anywhere, you
Yeah.
know? I always wonder, because 100% there's some fucking dude out there that's unknown in BMX
Yeah.
that is seriously so fucking good.
Yeah.
And I always wonder what their story is, you know?
Yeah, well, and what's cool is everyone has their own story.
Yeah.
Like there's legends from Hamilton, because I haven't really ridden much outside of Hamilton. Most of my time is spent riding street in Hamilton, and like guys like TJ, his name is TJ Stevenson. He moved like these are back in the Diamondback days, man. Like these guys like molded like what I knew of to be BMX, right?
Yeah, that's like so true, you know? And something that I find really interesting is you're talking about how you bought a Diamondback at one point. The first bike that I ever had that was a BMX bike was actually a Diamondback as well.
Right on.
And then Chris Doyle, his first bike was a Diamondback Assault. So like I was looking that up for our podcast tonight, and it's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like that's so cool. Diamondback used to be like a, you know, really good company.
Yeah.
I always wonder what happened with them. You know, I know like the bike that I had was just some cheap $200
Yeah.
big sprocket bike.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always wonder, like, you know, because those guys have been around for a long time, and they used to be the company to go to, I feel.
What I think they did is what they did was pave the way for everyone else. Like those older companies like Redline and Free Agent, like Haro. Like,
Oh, dude.
Because until the last decade, like Haro was like complete bikes only, really. Like they weren't building anything that I would buy and ride with confidence until now, right?
Yeah, and it's so I like the fact that Haro actually does that. That they have, you know, a line of bikes that goes into department stores, and then they have a full pro model line of like the best products you can buy.
Yeah,
you know,
it really is great, because there's something to be said for department store bikes. They're a great way for any person to dip their toe into the world we call BMX, especially for the casual cyclist. Like the guys that aren't riding 10K to go ride a jib spot and then ride 10K home, and there's your whole day, you know? Like how many times I've ridden my bike to Shell Park from Hamilton. It's like 30 kilometers. Like it could be a whole day venture. Like get breakfast, ride there, like ride home. It was...
Yeah, and that's like a, you know, I feel like for a lot of the kids that just want to be able to go around the block, do some bunny hops, do some shit like that, those cheap department store bikes are seriously what they need, you know?
Yeah.
And like when I was talking to Mike Spinner, that was something that we really talked about because, you know, when he finished and he was kind of retired with BMX, he actually basically sold his name off to have hyper bikes with his name on them sold at Walmart. And, you know, they're sold for about $100 each. And it was something where a lot of people gave him flack. You know, a lot of people called him a sellout. A lot of people called him all this stuff. And there's plenty of other reasons on why.
Yep.
But that was one of the things that he really got hit hard with. And, you know,
haters, man.
That's the thing.
They're just anyone who says something bad about that, they're because they want a big fat check in the mail. That's why.
Oh, absolutely. And like that was something that we talked about was just the fact that like, you know, realistically, not every kid can have a $600 fucking Sunday complete bike to just start out on.
S&M.
Yeah, like just to start out, you know, a lot of bikes that are good quality, good beginner bikes are at least a minimum of like $450 Canadian, and that's like bottom line.
Yeah,
like unsealed products in them.
Yeah, like that. I wouldn't spend any less than $500 on for a bike for my son. He needs a new one this spring.
Yeah,
and. Well, because he's 5'3" now, he can't ride an 18 anymore.
Definitely not.
Like I'm not going to spend under $500, but that's because I'm a BMXer. Like if I was just a regular dad, like buying something,
yeah, you don't know the fucking
would be fine because that's all I had.
Exactly. Yeah. Something that do you have an idea on what bike you're gonna get him yet, or you guys picked anything out?
I'm just gonna go to station. He's gonna have a look at what Adam has in stock, maybe some catalogs. It's up to him, really, within reason. Because
of course,
if he's like, I want that Sunday forecast, I'm gonna be like, time out, bud. You should learn to hop first. But
those Cult Gateway bikes are really good.
Yeah,
I hear really good starter bikes.
Yeah, he likes Cult. So.
Yeah, Cult. They are seriously the top brand right now in my mind. They have the best team. They have the biggest fucking videos. They have like the best products. They have the biggest line of products. Like think about how many think about how many pro model frames they have. Yeah. It's not like 3, it's fucking up there. It's like 8 different pro model frames.
Yep.
That's so fucking cool in my mind. Yeah. I like that.
It is good.
Yeah. It's good to have a good variety in different sizes and whatnot, because a lot of companies, they stick with BSD is a good one to go by. You have your ALVX frame with 12.5 back end, and then you have your passenger frame, which is like 13.5 back end, and then you have something that's kind of like in the middle or slightly above that.
Yep.
Yeah, I always find that you don't get the same variety as if you were to go with Cult. Like I have a Chase Hawk frame, and the rear end on it is really weird. It's like a 326 or something. 1326.
Okay.
I don't know. It's really strange, but I don't know. I've always been a guy that pays attention more to the back end of the frame than the front, if that makes sense.
Yeah. That kind of makes sense. I after that my original Miron frame, so it was 25 and a quarter or 20 and a quarter top tube. I realized that I need a bigger bike, so that was the primary motivator. Because Jeff was like, "Well, I have this Angel of Death. It's a 21. Here you go." Right. So we swapped it, and I rode 21s until I got my S&M a couple of years ago, and that's 21 and a quarter.
Yeah, and 21 and a quarter is actually kind of an interesting frame size. Eric rides that.
Okay.
Yeah, and his frame is he's got a custom FBM frame.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's built up really, really nicely. It's a really nice frame. But he has a really short rear end on it, or a pretty short rear end with a nice long front end.
So the Sunday I had, the original, I think it was 13.5 to 14 on the back end, and it was a 21 top tube. And then for the S&M, the back end shorter, it's 12.5 or 12.6.
Oh yeah, it's 12.6.
13.2.
Yeah.
And I have it back pretty far, so my axle's probably around 13, and the front end's 20 and a quarter. So basically all I did was my seat tube slid back. My wheel...
Yeah, your wheelbase is...
My wheelbase is actually a little shorter because the directors had a 32 millimeter, and I got the S&M pitchforks. I think they're 28.
Nice.
So I'm a little bit shorter wheelbase. So it's I have snappier hops, and manualing is pressing a button because of the short back end.
Oh, absolutely.
But with the longer front end, I find I'm a little more stable. My stance is a little bit wider, but my bike's a little bit smaller. So it's kind of neat.
Hell yeah, man. So let's get back into these clips here.
Yeah,
we got this Stony Creek ledge combo clip, and this is exactly what I'm talking about when I say that, you have tech tricks.
And this is exactly what I meant by Jeff has influenced my style, because this would have never even come to my mind.
And I love the perfect rollout right into the shed and everything. Yeah. And dude, I gotta say, that fucking ledge is so scary to ride because of how slick the top of it is. It's seriously ice. The fact that you did a 180 off of it blows my fucking mind because it's so slippery.
Well, I've been riding that ledge for almost 20 years, man.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
It used to be really, really rough concrete. We would have to go there with 2 pounds of wax every spring.
Oh my god, that's so crazy.
It used to be haggard, and then they've skim coated it since then.
Yeah,
it's beautiful now.
Yeah, it's fucking such an awesome ledge. The food dudes ride there all the time, so it's super, super slick. I think Eric was trying it with his metal pegs, and he was just getting on it and sliding so fast and getting so scared. Yeah. And it's nothing to fuck with, that's for sure, because it's so slick.
Yeah, it's a fun ledge, and it's nice and wide, so it's not so scary to be on top of it.
Yeah, exactly. It is pretty wide on the top. I feel the time I went there, it was middle of the night. Yeah, and this fucking random cat just came over to me while I was filming, and I forget what I named him, but he was my buddy. He fucking like hung out with me that night. He like was in my shirt while I was filming. It was so random. Yeah, just random fucking cat. I was like, I'm gonna take this fucker home.
Yeah, random Hamilton cats are usually pretty nice, actually.
Yeah, it's so weird, eh?
It's because they live so hard on the streets.
Yeah, they're like, oh my god, somebody's gonna hang out with me.
Yeah.
Oh fuck. And then this next clip is it's a really interesting one. So this is a line at inflow, and there's a clip before the line that that you did that I have to show you a clip that's really close to that.
All right.
So such a good little inflow line there.
Yeah.
But
I love that place.
I really want to pay attention to the first part of that clip here. So we've got nice 180 on, 180 off, and here we have Eric Weir.
Oh yeah. And remarkably, the amount of times it took to pull that, what happened to Eric never happened to me. The worst one I had was I gapped out too far and 180'd off right to flat.
That's awesome, actually. That's what you're looking for.
But it didn't feel good, so...
Oh, fuck. You heard it here, folks. Brakeless Drew is better than Eric Weir.
I did not say that.
Oh, fuck.
But I do have a BMX taxi sticker on the back of my edge, so...
There you go. You gotta have that.
Yeah.
Fucking shout out to you, BMX Taxi. Yeah, and then let's talk about this Jersey barrier clip. So this is the clip that I was mentioning earlier.
Cringeworthy.
Hell yeah, man. That fucking bail looked so rough, man.
Yeah.
It's such a good, like, mid-school, like, clip, you know? The spot is a crusty Hamilton spot.
Oh, yeah.
Really getting on there.
Yeah, so that was 2 tries only. That right there, first try was me eating it, and that was not fun.
Yeah, that would look like a really rough bail.
The worst was the elbow on the corner of the ledge when I stopped my chest.
Definitely.
Because that asphalt looked like it was put on with like a tack hammer. Like it was.
Oh my god.
It was so rough.
Yeah.
And it took forever to heal. It was deep. A deep scraping.
Damn.
But that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that looks like a really fun spot, you know? That's fucking cool, man. Yeah, Hamilton spot?
Oh, yeah, that's right in the downtown core. It's
nice.
Right across the street from the Jackson Square roof.
Oh, really?
It's the big, shiny CIBC buildings that
are
across the street. That's just the parking lot on the other
nice.
side.
Yeah, I don't know how I've never seen that.
That's
like
kind
literally
of tucked away.
I love Hamilton because there's so many good spots, like, right in the middle.
Yeah.
You know, like, you can literally just park right near City Hall.
Yeah.
And just fucking have a session.
Oh,
like,
yeah, and the bigger the crew gets, like, just you can split off, and there's so many little things.
Yeah.
I think that's why, like, we've never gone back there, because you've been there for, like, jam days, but you can't fit 30 guys in that
No,
spot.
you can't.
There was 5 or 6 of us that day, and...
It already looked gnarly, you know? Yeah, when it comes to jam spots, a lot of people don't realize this, but this is like, I take a lot of time before I do a jam to really scope out good spots that can fit a full crew of dudes and not have an issue, right? Like, you definitely don't want a spot that you go to and there's like, 100 people there.
Yeah.
And nobody can get a run. Like that ledge that I took you to a couple years ago, you tried to ice pick it, like the whole thing. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about in that park?
And again, like if we had 5 guys,
it
would have been good. Now, like I was gassed anyway because the run up for that, what I was trying,
was
not an easy. It was
definitely not
zigzag to the
and
ledge.
Then on top of that, you constantly have kids. Like what sucks about going to ledge spots is that you can't just have like a person go and then another person go from this way right after.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work. Like,
no, you need to give each other a bit of a wide berth.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of the people were like, I never understand it because you're going this direction anyways and you already see somebody coming at it. And like so many people would just still go and I'm like, that person is clearly going for the ledge. Like they were already going before you.
Yeah, that's called being a snake.
Yeah, it's really hard to actually like, with those kind of spots, it's really hard to get people like I don't know, to understand the flow. Whereas,
Yeah.
like, you know, we went to Red Brick, that big, like, fucking wall ride that you did the ice pick on the ladder. That spot is so easy because everybody's going the same direction, you know?
Yeah,
Like, you
that's
can really
true.
tell.
It's true, and I think it's more important. Even like I've seen it from a lot more younger people, the not being like aware of what other people are doing. So that's a big thing. Like teaching kids skate park etiquette, and especially nowadays, because when I was coming up, man, if I like the way I was explained skate park etiquette would probably make most of these kids today tear up.
Oh,
Like, because
absolutely.
it was not nice with like being having a skateboard brandished in my face, like and they were
Yeah.
gonna smack me with it, like. You caught on quicker back then because the penalty was a lot more
Well,
severe, right?
do you know the amount of fucking little kids that I've had to, like, you know, I'll try and explain to them. And I remember this one fucking kid. He is like standing on top of the pyramid at the Odd, and the Odd is a skate park in Kitchener
Love
that
that place.
awesome. It's a
Yeah.
great park, but the problem is that there's no flow. So,
No.
like, you know, I can flow around there because I fucking rode there my whole life.
Yeah, you
Like,
have your ideal lines around.
yeah, I have my whole lines around the whole park. It's awesome. But if you stand in the middle of the park, you're 100% going to get hit. Like, it's
Oh,
just the
yeah.
way it goes. And this kid was standing on top of the pyramid, just kind of like fucking around. And I go up and I tell him, like, hey, man, like, you can't stand here just because you're kind of in other people's way, right? Like,
Yeah.
look around and see how many people there are. If you stand off to the side, it's going to be a little bit better.
Yeah.
And just a mouthy, like, and it just pissed me off because he's like a mouthy 9-year-old.
Oh,
It's like,
they're-
well, why
they're
don't
the
you get out
worst.
of our way? And I'm like, oh my fucking God.
Yeah.
Like, I really wanted to go over to his parents and be like, he just said a swear.
Yeah.
You should go and get
He
him.
said a naughty word.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And that's the other thing too, is that you can't just like explain it to the parents, because a lot of parents that aren't into BMX or skating and they don't know the culture,
Yeah.
they don't understand it, and they just think that you're being a dick.
Yeah.
You know?
Sure. And that's where I've learned to really not care.
Yeah.
Like there's a strategic way to go about it, especially for like the annoying kids, right?
Yeah.
Is at first you nicely explain to them that they're in the danger zone.
Yeah.
Like that, and to pay
Danger
attention
zone.
what other people are doing. Like, don't just think about what you want to try. You have to watch everybody in that park, because chances are they're going to try something more than once. So you see this guy trying this line, and every time he falls off his bike, he goes back and starts again. You have an idea when to time it out, when to go.
Yeah.
And if they're mouthy, then you can then try and make note of their parent and go tell their parent, be like, look, this isn't a use at your own risk piece of area.
Yeah.
Like, if your kid gets in the way, that's his fault for being in the way. You understand that, right? And at that point, the natural selection takes over.
Pretty
Like-
much, man. You know, I've told this story before, but I think it was a few episodes back. Guelph Park. Have you ever rode that skate park?
Yeah, I love that place.
Yeah. So Guelph Skate Park, on the one side of it, it's like a crazy snake run course, which is really fun with like
Yeah.
big banks, big like corners and stuff to hit.
yeah.
You can get going really fucking quick. And then it has this hip into this bowl section right afterwards. And it's so much fun because, like, you know, I was doing turn downs from the hip into the extension of the bowl, which is like good 10, 15 feet away.
Yeah, that's
So
you're going a good
fucking,
clip there.
yeah, you're going
Yeah.
really fast. And on the other side of that, it's like a street section, but the park only runs back and forth. There's no setups that would run side to side, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And this fucking little kid comes side to side on this fucking part where it's basically like a berm. So when you hit this thing, this is literally the fastest of your like run,
Yeah.
because you're going into the last like hip.
Yeah.
And you can't see anybody that's on the other side of this thing. So, you know, I come in and hit the berm, and he comes out and just fucking smoked him and sent him, like, literally sent him in the air, like 10
Yeah.
feet out.
Yeah.
And, like, oh my God, I was so fucking nervous because
Yeah.
parents started running over and they're like, we are so sorry. Our son is so stupid for doing that. We've told him so many times not to do that. And I guess this is how he's going to learn.
Yeah,
I
that's
was like, wow,
you know,
that is a prime example.
You're lucky enough to find parents that are rational.
Oh, absolutely.
Like I smoked a couple kids in my days. I went about the process correctly. I explained to them the dangers and the fact that, look, I'm way bigger than you. Like
Yeah.
when we're dealing with like 30, 40 kilometers an hour, you are not going to win. So you need to watch out.
Oh, of course. And then on top of that too, it's like, like we mentioned earlier, you're a big fucking guy. Like for me, if I run into somebody right now, it would be probably 170 pounds worth of, bike and person running into this person.
Yeah.
However, if it's you, dude,
Well,
that's
it's like
a lot
whole,
more.
It's like a whole other person. It'd be
Yeah.
like you and my kid are me.
It's like getting hit by a fucking running backer, or a
Yeah.
linebacker, dude.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, the only person I wouldn't be worried about their well-being running into them is Jeff, because he's a massive beast.
Jeff
of a
would
man.
just fucking pick you up and like spin you around
probably.
and then throw you.
Yeah.
Like he's fucking massive.
Yeah, I remember Skinny Jeff. It was funny.
Oh fuck.
I'm gonna have another one of these.
Hell yeah, dude. Fucking do it.
Ooh, nice.
Alrighty.
Cold.
Do you ever ride trails?
No.
Yeah,
Well,
was
I
gonna say.
have. I've spent maybe 6 days of my life riding trails.
Yeah, not a trails guy, eh?
There was one set that was pretty shady. It was at West End, Hamilton, the big cathedral by the 403. You go down the back of the cathedral to this like abandoned kind of field area, and there was like an old rusted out like dryer from the 30s or something there, and there was these cool trails like carved into the place that were hidden by really tall grass.
Hell yeah.
That was pretty cool. I fell there and got a staph infection, so that was nice.
So good.
Rode there a few times, and then there used to be a set of trails on the Hamilton Mountain that were pretty big. It was cool. It was a cool setup because it was like it started small and every jump got bigger. So there was a small table, and then a small double, then a big double, and then a berm, and then it got into the stuff that I never jumped. So there was some pretty big stuff.
Oh, definitely, man. There's a set of jumps in London. Actually, my buddy Ryan, he owns these jumps. They're in his backyard
No way.
in the middle of the city.
Awesome.
Yeah, so we talked to him recently, and he bought this piece of land like 10 years ago, and he built a full-on like 6 set of jumps.
That's
so like
awesome.
literally first 3, and it's so weird. So like in the middle of the jumps, there's like basically a little pump track into the first berm, and then you hit that berm and you just pedal your fucking ass off into this like roller, and then you hit the first jump, and then there's another jump, and then another berm. And the next berm is cool because it actually changes in elevation by like 5 feet. So like you
Cool.
land, and then you start going down
Oh,
into the ground, and then you come out into another like long and low, and then a nice jump, and then a huge fucking transfer.
cool.
But they're not that big. That's the thing. Like honestly, they're seriously the best setup for a set of jumps, I think, where like if you have basic bike control and you know how to hit a dirt jump, you could absolutely hit these. The only
Okay.
problem is that they're gaps. So a lot of people are really afraid when it comes to gaps.
Therein lies the psychological part of it.
Yeah.
Because even me thinking, I would not like it if there's gaps. But if there's a gap, you're making that jump, man. You're not coming up short. And if you
Yeah.
do, it's not going to be bad. Your chances are, when there's a gap, you're going to go flat than you are to land in transition.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And they're not that hard to ride either. And like, what's really cool, and this is something that he was able to do because this was his piece of land, right? Is that he's made little side paths so that when you hit a jump, you can actually just go off to the side instead of having to hit all 3 of them, right?
That's good.
Yeah.
Especially even if you're just trying something on one jump.
Well, that's the thing. He was like, I wanted to make sure that people could be comfortable because a lot of people, they don't really want to hit like one jump and then have to hit the next one right away, right?
Yeah.
Like, they like to get that first one figured out, get the
For
speed
sure.
right. And that was
would-
something where...
That would be me if I ever went to that guy's place.
Oh,
it
absolutely.
sounds like my kind of place to get into trails. Cause
Dude, you should come.
That would be
Fucking
fun.
anytime you want, man. Let me know. We'll go.
All right.
It's Ryan's a really, really cool guy, and like he's a craft beer drinker too. So
Oh,
fucking
cool.
show up with some collective stuff, and he'll be
Yeah.
your best friend.
Yeah, we'll get along, I'm sure.
Yeah, man. Fucking bring him some of your Seth Rogen weed. He'll love it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh man, people think you look like Seth Rogen, eh?
Yeah, so they tell me. There's been a few funny instances of that. One recently, I was at a friend from work's stag for his wedding, and like every 10 minutes, someone's like, "Has anyone told you look like Seth Rogen?" I'm like, "Yeah, not in the last 5 minutes." Like, I got it like 50 times that night. It was pretty funny.
That's so funny, eh?
Yeah.
Oh man.
There was a girl at Walmart. It was hilarious because I walk up to the cash and she's like, "Oh my god!" I'm like, "What?" She's like, "You're him." I'm like, "Who?"
Yeah.
She's like, "You're that guy from that movie." I'm like, "What movie?" She's like, "I don't know, but you're that guy." And I'm like, "I think I know who you're talking about." And I think if I was him, I'd be a little offended right now. He's like, "You don't know my name or what movie I'm in."
Oh, fuck.
Oh.
Oh, that's so funny. Oh, man. So, what's your favorite trick right now, would you say?
My favorite trick's always kickflips, man.
Yeah? Loving
Always
those crank flips, eh?
Always.
Do you prefer to call them crank flips or kick flips?
I call them kickflips because they were before I ever heard anyone call it a crank flip.
That's fair.
I learned it from Jeff, and we've been doing them together since like 2003. So
Yeah, when is Jeff going to do downside hand plant kick flip? That would be cool.
I don't know. I really don't know.
That would be fucking cool.
90% of what that guy does not make sense in my brain.
Yeah, I know. I've been trying to think of combos that he could do with that trick because it's already hard enough to do, so I don't know. But I was like, bar spin would be cool, but I don't think it would be possible because like he was saying that you really use your arm to pull the bike in.
Yeah.
And it's more or less your arm than anything. So I'm like, I don't think that you could bar. I don't know.
I don't know how you'd kickflip either, but I've seen him kickflip so many things that again I would, and that, all those other instances I say, how would you do a kickflip there?
I want to see him do it to fakie, like a downside hand plant, then 180 out.
Rotate it again. Yeah.
That would be fucking cool.
Yeah.
It'd be like the ultimate fucking 360 to fakie.
Yeah, I remember back before he rode, when he was riding a cassette, watching him do like 180 kickflips to fakie, like that. Even that blew my mind. Like how you catch the pedals and then roll back, like
that's so weird, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got such a great style, and he's such a good like shredder. You know?
Oh yeah.
Like he really utilizes the free coaster, where I see like a lot of kids. You know, they use it somewhat, but like they don't use it for its intended purpose.
Because I think that comes from a time that a lot of kids that ride free coasters now don't know anything else.
Yeah.
Where it just was the component on the bike they got. Where like Jeff added a free coaster to his toolbox is all he did, really.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just pulling up these Space Goats clips.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, when I was talking to Escamilla, he was saying that, you know, like, if you really want to look for somebody that uses a free coaster to its full ability and the way that it's supposed to be used, you look at Pat Casey. That dude is fucking doing 540 whips over spines. He's doing, you know, fakey cash rolls. Like
stuff where a rollback he's going a good clip. Like pedaling backwards isn't feasible on certain things, right? Or like when you do like a huge 180 gap to flat, like I've done my fair share, and a fair share of those was getting the timing right, because like you go to start that crank back and it just ejects you off the back of the bike.
Yeah, it's like kind of hard to actually do a fast 180 and then like land.
Yeah,
I always find you know, coasters end up fucking me up on those just because I like to be able to pedal backwards. I'm a cassette guy.
I've
like
never
till
had
I die.
a coaster on my bike ever.
Yeah. I don't know, I just always feel like on a coaster you fucking land and you're going so fast and like it just feels weird. You know, I like being able to pedal because it helps keep my balance.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Like, and I think for me, I'm a cassette guy because like I've been riding for 20 years, but I can count the amount of time that brakes have been on my bike in hours, probably. Like I've rode Brakeless for so long that having a cassette, it was a huge portion of my bike control.
Oh, absolutely.
Like there's sometimes where you're going kind of quick, and it's easier to do a 180 and a half cab to slow yourself down than it is to just put your feet down and stop.
Yeah.
Right? Like having that cassette is everything.
Hell yeah. Alrighty, so I have a few clips I want to show from my DVD Space Goats. This was your little part in the friends section, so we'll show off a little bit of the other stuff as well. Actually, 1 second, because I can add the music to the actual stream for this one. So
because it's yours.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm like, I never get to do that, so let's add the sound. Where is that thing that I'm looking for? Throw this back on us.
This is some pretty good beverage here.
Yeah, man, Collective. That's the audio-visual logger, I think.
It is the AV logger from Collective Arts in Hamilton, Ontario.
Yeah, Collective doesn't fuck around, man. They're the best.
Yeah.
Alrighty, let's yeah, so here's a couple clips from my video Space Goats. I'll move out of your way. These first clips are actually from Chris Johnson, our filmer. Or not filmer, but our photographer. Okay, Corbin Wong.
I love watching your video because there's so many spots I want you to take me to.
All right, here we go. We got some Brakeless Drew, big ice pick.
That ladder.
That double peg. Yeah, that fucking ice pick, man. That clip was really something else, you know?
That was, it was funny because, like, I'm so happy that ladder held me.
Yeah, right? I'm like, I couldn't believe that that got done, you know, because that clip itself is just so fucking crazy when you really take a look at it.
Yeah, that bag being, and with the ladder being protruding from the wall, like, it was so tight and so high for how tight it was. Like, that's like my dream kind of setup. Something that's super hard to hit.
Yeah, exactly. I can't remember if this is the jam where did we end up taking the ladder off the wall and having it half on the wall, half off of it?
I don't remember.
I don't think so. There was a jam where yeah, I don't think it was.
I don't think
there was a jam that I did and we ended up breaking. I think that's why that ladder was there, was because beforehand it was along the actual wall and we had a jam and fucking everybody wanted to ride, so everybody just started grinding on that ladder or like fucking with it, and ended up getting like, we broke a part of the mount that was holding it. So then it was like, and Jesse ended up 180ing off the wall over the ladder, and everybody went nuts. That was seriously probably the best year of the jam.
Yeah, I love that spot. That was like that wall ride, and like
and that one that we took you to another one too. There's a couple clips in Space Goats again with you in it. I think it's in the second friends section. It's the one that we met you at Trashmore, and then we took you there right away.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that spot was really fun. That one's a good wall ride for tricks.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, because that was the first place I tried to do like wall ride to wall ride, like inside of a corner.
Yeah.
It was, I didn't get it, but it was an eye opener. Almost. For sure.
You were doing a corner wall ride, which was kind of cool, like in between the walls.
Yeah, that was fun.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah, that was such a good day. That was so long ago, eh?
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny how time flies.
Yeah, I met you and Cole Murray and Josh Dottie that day.
Yeah, and out completely and at random, too, because we just showed up at Trashmore, and you were there, and we just got to talking.
Yeah.
Now we're friends.
Yeah, I knew it sucks. That bowl's gone now. They ripped it out, yeah. Yeah, it started caving in because obviously Trashmore was built on a trash dump. They couldn't really find any support, and just ended up caving in. So, fucking pretty expensive hole in the ground, man. Yeah, if you ask me.
They should have just taped off the caved-in area with hazard tape and left the bowl.
Yeah, right. Oh man. So, when we were setting all of this up, you mentioned that BMX saved your life, literally. Do you mind if we dive deeper on this?
Sure. Well, when I was a teenager, I've always had like body image issues. Obviously, I've been large my whole life. I haven't been under 200 pounds since I was like 11 years old. So, where I never really felt like an embrace of friendship until I met my friends riding bikes, and like I used to suffer from really debilitating depression. And there were times where I was so low that like the only thing I could look forward to was getting up and going riding the next day. Like it was really all I had, what felt like the only thing I had to hold on to at the time. So yeah, BMX and my friends I met riding BMX have helped me become who I am today. So,
dude, and that's such a good story. You know, I feel very similar. Like I was, I had a rough growing up, like childhood, and I didn't really like it very much. And
Who does like their childhood?
that's the thing, right? Yeah. But BMX was one of those things where I actually, I've said this 1,000 times as well, but I felt comfortable in it, and it was something that I liked doing, and it was something where people actually had respect for me, or at least they wanted to be my friend this week, and that BMX is something that you could have the worst fucking day of your life. As long as you get out on your bike and ride for a little bit, you'll have that, 5, 10, 20 minutes of perfect clarity where you can just focus on riding
and nothing
else. You don't have to focus on anything else.
And
I love that. That's something that because it takes so much to actually do. You can't. Yeah. I find that you can't really half-ass it. If you want, you can half-ass it if you want, but you're not going to have a good time. You're not going to enjoy it.
You're probably going to get hurt depending on
what
you're doing.
Get hurt. Yeah. Yeah, you kind of have to go full throttle all the time and really focus and concentrate, know?
And for me, one of the most beautiful things of BMX is, it gave me something I never had doing team sports as a kid. Because, I had my own personal inadequacies that I felt in my own mind. That being on a team competing with people compounded that challenge of feeling like you're not as good as someone else. And where BMX, you're only competing with yourself. So there's none of that at all.
Yeah, exactly. And then even when we do have competitions, it's so friendly. Nobody actually, a lot of the people, sure, some of them want to win, but a lot of the time, they just want to see people try shit. You've never been to a BMX contest and seen fucking somebody land the craziest trick or something that's new to them and people not get excited about it, you know?
Oh, yeah. Because, for me, BMX has always been about 30% riding and 70% hanging out with your friends, talking shit, and getting stoked on each other.
Hell yeah.
That's what it's for me.
And there's a really important part of BMX that is shit talking. You need to have it. You need to have it.
Well, and you know what? I think it comes from it forces humility on people, because if someone's gonna shit talk you, you have to be open minded to the fact that you're not perfect in any way, because we are all human.
Yeah, and it is one of those things where it's just shit talk back, because what are they gonna do? That's what they want you to do realistically.
Yeah. Yeah, one of the biggest ones growing up was someone started oh, I want to try this, we'd be like, you won't.
Yeah, you won't.
You won't, and then to motivate them to go do it.
My favorite is no dick. I just like telling people, they'll be like, yeah, I'm going to try this. No dick. You won't.
No,
you're not going to do it. You have no dick.
Yeah.
And that'll instantly fucking get people pissed
Jacked
off.
Up, yeah.
This kid, we, for Fuck Ass is my first video. We're up at the top of Market Square. So it's I think you've rode there. It's the stair set with the ledges up at the top or whatever.
Yep.
But anyways, if you go up to the very top, it's a parking garage. So there's 6 levels.
Nice.
And in the wintertime, they push all the snow to this one area. And it's directly under, it's on the 3rd floor, but directly above it is the 6th floor. And you can jump from the top of it into the fucking snowbank. We were looking at it, and it's pretty fucking gnarly, man. And this dude was like, yeah, I'm going to do it. And then we got there. He's like, I don't know, man. It's kind of scary. This is a pretty big fucking, thing to the bottom.
Yeah.
And I was just like, no dick. What do you brought me here? Are we going to do this? No dick? No dick. And he ended up doing it, and he was fine. But it's just one of those things where it's it's seriously so fucking high up, and the video does it no justice.
Yeah.
Because it is, it's fucking huge.
Yeah. I remember Jeff jumping off of something huge one time in Hamilton when they were building the Red Hill Expressway. That used to be the Red Hill Creek. It was a protected area of the city. It was this creek that went all the way up the escarpment, a bunch of green space around it. You'd always see deer and shit in there. And then they were building the expressway. So the bridges that separate Stony Creek from Hamilton, they were building roadways there. So they had these huge mountains of building materials. There was one of rocks and that, but then there was one of just mulch. And Jeff jumped off the bridge into the mulch pile.
Oh my god!
But it was a 15-foot drop to the top of the mulch pile. It was insane. Oh. And he did it at night. It was dark. You could barely see the top of the pile. And he's
That's hilarious.
Oh, going in.
That always reminds me of like those CKY videos. Do you ever watch those?
Yeah, I used to. Yeah.
Yeah, and like those were like the pinnacle of Jackass, man. Was
Yeah.
right before they started doing Jackass, the CKY videos.
Yeah,
They were
kill
ridiculous.
yourself.
Yeah, dude. I'm like, that shit was so fucking crazy.
Oh yeah.
They'd be like jumping off a fucking like huge, I don't even know what it would be. It's like, I guess feeders or like things that would take dirt and put it in the top of, I don't know what it is.
Okay,
it's like a grain elevator. That's
Yeah,
what it is.
okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
there'd
yeah.
be like a grain elevator, but it'd be for like dirt.
Yeah.
And it'd be up like so fucking high with this huge dirt pile, and they'd be like jumping off of that, jumping off of
Oh, yeah.
bridges. There's a clip of him, like Bam, jumping off of like probably a 10-story roof into somebody's fucking swimming pool.
That's crazy.
I'm like, that's fucked.
That's super crazy.
I'm like, that's literally like there's no room for error.
No.
Like, and how the hell did you even do it? Because it's at a hotel. So,
Yeah.
like, he's literally on the 10th floor of a hotel and, like, jumps off into this thing.
Yeah, we used to do shopping cart play when I was younger.
Oh, man.
That was
Fucking
as deep
shopping
as we
carts.
got into it.
Yeah.
You have like one guy pushing and one guy riding inside, running through a park, going through like parking lots at full sprint, and then like letting it go
Oh, yeah.
and sending it into a curb because then the bottom would hit the curb and it would catapult you.
Oh, man. Yeah, those fucking
So stupid.
catapults. It's
So
so
dumb.
funny, though.
Yeah.
You know? And I think they did one where they took shopping carts with, like, jousting outfits and, like, did shopping cart joust.
That would be so much fun.
I know. I'm like, all that shit was so ridiculous. And I always wonder how fucked up they actually got.
Yeah, probably pretty because I didn't do it for my job and I got pretty messed up over the years.
Oh,
so.
yeah. There was a clip of fucking Ryan Dunn and, like, I think it was Matt Hoffman or somebody telling him that he's, like, the best/worst BMX rider ever because he sends the biggest shit but with no intentions of landing it. So it's like he's on top of a roof and he drops into a fucking bush on, like, a Barbie bike.
Yeah.
Like, so crazy. And then there's a clip of him, like, going head on into a fucking car on it and, like, just eats it right into the fucking windshield. Man, those fucking CKY videos. And I always wondered where they got the name because his brother, Jess, his band is CKY, which he
Yeah.
plays drums for.
Right.
So I'm like, I don't know if they took the name or how they did it, but they
Who
had,
knows?
like, CKY music in there all the time.
Yeah.
It's kind of a weird thing a lot of people don't know about.
Yeah, it's like old, like 90s hardcore punk, man.
Mhm.
It was good.
Yeah, that shit's good.
Yep.
Yeah, that dude blew up, eh? He had, like, a huge TV show that was, like, 5 seasons.
Yeah.
We're talking about Viva La Bam, if you guys
That
are
show was
not
awesome.
sure. That show was awesome. There was a lot of, like, money in that show, too. So,
Yeah.
like, Bam was saying that their budget for every episode of it was $300,000 a week.
Oh my
I'm like,
god.
how the fuck are you going to give a 24-year-old $300,000 a week
And
to just blow?
300 grand and creative control.
Yeah. I'm like, no wonder half the shit that happened on there made 0 sense. Like,
Yeah.
it's just so fucked.
Yep. Yeah, he was. I loved that show too. Going back in time, I actually have a season of Viva La Bam on PSP, the discs for the PlayStation P.
Hell yeah,
or
man.
whatever.
I remember that.
The
That was
olden
like one of my
days.
birthday presents one year. Was a PSP. I really wanted one.
Yeah,
I had like a Nintendo DS at the time.
nice.
I remember getting their original DS
Yep.
and loving it. And then my sister got like the other one when it came out a couple years later, and I was
Yeah.
so jealous because it looked way better.
I was so stoked when the Game Boy Color came out for the
Yeah.
first time. That was the best thing ever.
Yeah, man. That shit is like, it's so crazy to think how far video games have come.
Yeah.
Are you a big video game guy?
Love them.
Yeah, I fucking love them too.
Yeah.
I'm really slacking lately because I only own a fucking PS3 at the moment and an Xbox 360, and I don't even play Xbox. It's Taylor's.
Yeah.
But we're gonna get an N64 soon. We've been meaning to get that.
Yeah,
but
that
like,
one still.
I need to get a PS4 because I want to play Horizon Zero Dawn
Yeah.
so badly.
I'm a PS4 guy.
Yeah, have you played Horizon?
No, I'm kind of a video game snob.
Okay.
I only like really Far Cry and Assassin's Creed. That's really
Fair.
the only games that I've spent hundreds of hours playing.
Yeah.
And I just got the new Jedi Fallen Order.
Oh, is that good?
I'm only like 2 hours in, so I don't know yet. So
Yeah.
far, so good. What I can tell, it's kind of like like Soul Calibur meets Uncharted.
Oh, nice.
I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't mind the Uncharted games. The first 3 of them were really good. I think number 2 is probably the best.
I never played them.
Really?
Yeah,
they're good, man.
I just know I played, but not. I didn't like have it to get into the story, so I understood the mechanics of the game.
Yeah,
If that makes sense.
yeah. There was some weird stuff in the second one where like the end of it was kind of, I don't know. I always found that the ending of those games was always really weird. So like, the first one, I think it ends with like basically there's a curse that happens. I didn't know if you wanted to play these games, but spoiler alert.
Fine, go ahead.
As you play the game, you learn that there's like this cursed idol that you're trying to collect, and like, I guess that it ends up making all these people basically like fucking zombies that are like super fast. It was like a really weird thing where I wasn't sure because the story is like it goes so quickly in the way that like you're like, oh, I'm just a treasure hunter, and then all of a sudden it's like, why the fuck are these crazy zombie things chasing after me? Like, this doesn't make any sense. But I think the last time that I played it, it started to make a little bit more sense. And then the second game, you're trying to get to this place, and when you make it there, there's like these crazy Yeti guys, but then these Yeti guys turn out to be like this race of people that are just trying to like, I don't know, protect their fucking land. It's so weird. It's so strange.
That sounds like something I should get into.
You should try it, man, because it's really interesting. Like, those first 2 games were really good. If you have a PS3, because PS4 is not backwards compatible, right?
I don't think so.
I don't know why they didn't do that. Because even my PS3, I have like the newer one, and they were like, no, not allowed.
Different types of Blu-rays.
I know, but I'm like, it's just so weird.
That's why.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. Because
whatever.
the 4 is dual layer.
Yeah.
But like a dual layer player can read a regular Blu-ray, so why wouldn't it work?
I think it's just one of those things where they're like, yeah, we just want you to have to buy the game when we release it digitally.
Or it could be that, like, coding, right? Like,
Yeah,
it could
that's
be
true.
that it's just as simple as like, look, the improvements are so much that we can't play that stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, and there's like, I'm a really big fan of the Final Fantasy games.
Yeah.
So I was playing like Final Fantasy X recently again,
Yep.
and I like got so fucking far into that game where I'm fighting the final like Dark Aeons. I don't know if you've ever played that game.
No.
So like you can beat the game, and then there's even harder bosses that are like literally 20 times harder, where in order to like a normal boss fight in that game is like 10-15 minutes of just like strategy.
Right.
But then when you get really far into it and you start facing these guys that have like over 1 million hit points, it's literally like you're spending close to an hour and a half just on a single fight. And it's like, if you fuck up on one move towards the end of it, you're done.
Yeah, game over. Yeah.
Like, it literally, all it takes is like for him to charge his attack, and then all of a sudden he's killed all 3 of your people. And if you didn't do a certain move, you ended up like just losing.
Yeah.
Like, that happens so many times. I was like, motherfucker, like, really?
The only Final Fantasies I've played, it was 7 on the first PlayStation. And then I have, because I have a PSP, we were talking about it earlier.
Yeah.
The disk drive stopped functioning in it.
Oh, fuck.
So, like, it was basically a paperweight until I figured out how to put a Super Nintendo emulator on it.
Oh, that's cool.
So now I have 800 Super Nintendo games on it. So
that's sick.
I've been playing Final Fantasy 2 for Super Nintendo.
Yeah, I played through all of Pokemon Fire Red on an emulator on my phone.
Nice.
And like got to the point where I literally had all of the fucking all of the legendary Pokemon,
Nice.
like every single one of them. I'm like, how the hell does this even happen? Like,
Yeah.
I think if I would have looked at the game and how much time I actually spent on it, it was probably close to, 100 hours just
Sure.
like, taking the bus to work and whatnot. That's like an hour bus ride there and then an hour bus ride back. So,
Yep.
yeah, it's just something to do, right?
Oh, yeah. Definitely a good time killer.
Yeah, definitely in the wintertime, man. That's all I do is play games and fucking do podcasts, apparently.
Keeps your brain working.
Oh, yeah. You gotta, right? Yeah, so let's jump back into some BMX stuff here. What do you think the worst slam that you've ever had was?
It's a toss-up. One, because I've had 2 that I've repeated the injury. So, one was my left kneecap. I I split it, so there's like a seam horizontally across my kneecap where the top and bottom separated.
Okay.
So that was a broken chain, knee to the stem, no knee pads, and then about a year later, I was in a mosh pit, and a guy bigger than me jumped on my back, and I stumbled and dropped to my knee. So that re-split it open. So that one's real bad because it hurts when it rains. But the other one was my shoulder. Again, a double injury. That was pretty bad. Jeff was present for the first one. We were at X Wheels in Buffalo, and I was brakeless, obviously. But I jumped the spine, and when I went to go over, because I'd never really rode ramps much. I was 18, first real spine I ever went over. So I kind of went over it like you would go if you had 0 speed, but I was going fast. So I went over and like went to nose in, but landed like flat. So I just went right to my shoulder on concrete from like 7 feet up.
Wow.
Separated my collarbone from my shoulder, and then a couple years later, I fell on it again and made it worse. So, and the clip of making it worse is actually on the internet somewhere.
Nice. I'll have to try and find that.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Make sure you send in all your bails, kids. We do bail of the week typically every week. Earlier, we did it with Beatrice this week, and that was really cool because it was all girl clips.
Cool.
So it's like, I love that girls ride bikes, but you gotta have those bail clips in there too.
Yeah.
Like, did you see that clip of Angie Marino at the Simple Session?
No.
Oh my god, dude! I have to fucking find this for you. This is like the craziest clip ever. This was like this past weekend. She ends up like, oh, it's so hard to fucking explain. Let's throw this up here. Somebody call? No. Oh my god, sorry, I'm taking too long.
It's okay. You could do a whole episode of clip of bail of the week with clips
Oh my
of me.
god, dude. Send them in because I need them. Here's this clip. Watch that.
All right. Oh no.
Did you see it?
No way.
Rough, eh?
That's a mid-air collision.
Yeah, dude. Like literally fucking sandwich, eh?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so rough. She ended up getting like, she was fine, I guess, but Jesus. And there's a photo here, and she's like,
that looks gnarly.
Jesus.
Yeah, that would have been me and Daniel Sandoval at X Jam if he hadn't have fucking stopped, bud.
Really?
I snaked him so bad, and he could have. He would have smashed into me, and then we both would have not. We both actually would have been pretty hurt because we were not low to the ground.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that shit's rough. Have you ever seen that clip of it's these dudes riding a mini ramp? They're riding together. And I think it's at a demo. This guy like jumps the spine, and then when he comes down, his body airs, but instead of going out, he goes like just up. So then when he comes down, he literally is coming up the ramp as he comes down and just airs right into him. It's so rough. It's seriously, I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, that's the thing about crashing with a bike is that like why I chose to ride bikes instead of a skateboard when I was a kid was that it had handles on it. So in my mind, it seemed easier. But when everything goes right, it's great. But when things go wrong, you can't just
dude,
it's so hard to just kick it away. And now you don't have to worry about it.
You can't. That's the thing. Like, I always talk to my dad about this because he's a skater, and like when I got into BMX, he's like, just beware. You're going to take some heavy fucking crashes, some hard crashes.
Yeah.
And like, over the years, he's seen it all. And like, he completely agrees that on a skateboard, you may not land your trick 80% of the time, but you'll walk away from your trick 90% of the time, or like the fact that you didn't land it. Yeah. Whereas on a bike, it's like you land things most of the time. And if you don't, it's going to fucking suck.
Yeah.
Like it's not going to be fun.
Yeah. And when parts fail, like when a board snaps, like you're not getting a jagged piece of metal in your leg.
Oh my god, crank arm snaps? Dude.
I've broken so many cranks, it's not even funny. Like I would at least one crank set every year until a few years ago.
Yeah, what cranks are you riding now?
Demolition rig cranks. Thank
you, Dennis
Henderson.
Hell yeah. Do you think that it has something to do with that they're just a lot stronger, or do you think it's something to do where you haven't been riding as much?
No, I've definitely I've done the biggest shit I've ever done in my life on these cranks.
That's awesome.
They are. It has to do with in terms of like the improvements in engineering and material engineering as well, because like there's always been big beefy crank sets Like I had a pair of Profile SS cranks. I twisted the spindle on those, made them garbage. I've broken 3 sets of power bites, 3 sets of hollow bites, 2 pairs of Primo XL cranks, 2 pairs of Profile Race cranks. I broke the cheap $100 Sunday cranks that are like cast steel. Like that was one day. They were done. Like I just needed I needed cranks because I broke my hollow bites. Like, well, I only got $100. I'll buy these. I rode for like 2 hours. They were garbage.
Wow.
Like,
yeah.
just because I'm big. Like,
Yeah, and I think that is a thing too, where like they should just start flowing you parts, man. Fucking give you a paycheck, start flowing you parts, because you are a fucking good rider and you're a heavy dude. So like,
yeah,
it's a good combination of real, actual testing, right? Like,
yeah, oh yeah,
that was something that there's a video for Bone Death's cranks, actually, like their ad.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. And one of the things that Sean mentions in it is he's like, you know, you get all these California guys that are landing tricks first try, and you know, they're doing stuff down to 20 set, but they've got these big tires with the best PSI in it. It's landed first try. It's nice and clean. Here at Bone Death, we don't do that. We land sideways. We fuck everything up.
oh yeah,
Like, and that was one of my favorite things, is just that like Bone Death's marketing is hilarious.
yeah,
But also it works, you know?
They're
like the
awesome.
stuff that they build is fucking like pretty well indestructible. Like,
that's what you need. Like when like I was buying, like I've gone through 10 frames and only 2 of them haven't broken yet.
yeah,
Like,
exactly.
Like it's funny that like the last decade, like material strength and like just heat treatment, like the technology that's there and people's knowledge of how to work the materials, it's such a great improvement for the industry.
Yeah, it's gotten a lot better, eh?
Yeah, and it's good for us too, because it's like, well, if I eat shit on this, I know it's not because my bike turned into 2 different pieces, you know.
Yeah, not fun to do that, man.
No.
Done that one too many times.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, I've broken frame. I've torn head tubes off frames before.
Yeah. So this is a good transition, actually. You said earlier that you've been riding for, you know, about 20 years, maybe over 20 years.
Yeah.
What are some of the big differences you've seen change on your bike in the last 20 years?
On the bike itself, not too much other than availability, because I don't know, for the last 15 years at least, I've had parts where I'm like, I'm gonna ride this part forever, like even if I have to replace it, and then I've had to switch because things have gone away.
Yeah.
Like I fondly remember the Primo wall and Primo Dirt Monster tires. That was the wall on the back and the Dirt Monster on the front. Like I was diehard on those tires until they didn't make them anymore. Stuff like that. What was it? Yeah, the McNeil Rubin bars. Those handlebars, like they were big for their time, but they were only like 7 1/4 tall. But they had 14 degrees of back sweep. It felt incredible. And like big bars now are great. Like I got the Animal Foursome bars, the 9.5s, awesome. And top load stems are a lot more popular now, which is cool. I've switched. I was front load forever. And...
Yeah, I'm riding a top load right now with 8.75s, I think, for bars. I like my bike to kind of, I don't know, I like to be able to muscle it, be like over it, and really have control over it, you know? I don't mind having like my back hunched on it. I know I'll fucking hate it in a couple years. You know?
Well, for me being big my whole life, like, my back isn't in the greatest of shape, right? So over the years, my bike's gotten taller and taller just to help, so I'm not hunched over as much, right?
Fair enough. I had that 10-inch life for a while too. You know, like I rode 10-inch bars for a couple years, and I didn't mind it, but it's just one of those things that like you really should try and get over top of it more if you can. Like, just because I think it helps your riding a lot more. You know?
Yeah, sure.
I'm definitely not going to fucking 7-inch bars or some, you know, Bob Sebro bars, but
yeah. Well, I used to ride like 7-inch bars, and I would cut my steer tube down and ride everything slammed as low as possible.
Yeah, it's so crazy to think about, eh?
Yeah.
I'm like, I wonder, like, I really want to try and do a history on bikes in the last little while and see the big differences, because that would be kind of cool.
Yeah, well, I think I want to go to the next that show and shine at Inflow.
That's a good idea. Yeah,
So you get to
those
see
are always
stuff.
really cool.
You get to see things through the eras because everyone's got a bunch of different stuff,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah. Another good guy to talk to is Clayton at Backpedaling. That
Yeah.
guy has so much knowledge
Yep.
of fucking BMX.
Yeah, his shop's amazing.
Yeah.
There was I almost bought a railed seat post when I was there because he had a seat I wanted to get, but I have a pivotal, right? So I would have had to buy a seat post as well. Because I was actually riding the Guelph Park. I did a kickflip off something and slipped with my pedals.
Oh
And
shit.
took the seat right to the cornhole, but I broke the knob, the front of my seat off. So we went to backpedaling so I could get a new seat. So he had this awesome Primo hemorrhoid seat with white plastic with the black leather on top.
Yeah.
And I wanted it so bad, but I was so tight on cash, I didn't have money for both parts. So I ended up picking up the Sabrosa seat with the Slayer logo on it.
Nice.
So awesome.
Yeah, you know what's always kind of interesting to think about is that seats, at least for pivotal seats, they've stayed plastic for quite a while.
Yeah, good thing.
I'm wondering
'cause
when.
I broke one.
Yeah.
And the plastic didn't make any marks. So
Yeah, I guess that's good. I was gonna say, I wonder if you made like an aluminum mold and then had like padding around it, what it would be like.
yeah. Well,
I
it
don't
would be
know.
strong,
I feel like
but-
it'd be strong, but why do you really need a seat to be strong? You know, a lot of the time,
Yeah.
it's really rare that you break one. Like I saw Greg Henry break his a couple weeks ago at Inflow,
Yeah.
but it is something where it's really not that often that it happens.
Yeah. It really isn't. I've only, like, the way I broke that seat has only ever happened to me twice. And the first time was because I pitched my bike because I was trying to manual line for like 2 hours and was frustrated, looped out, and let it go.
I always find that one's a weird one too, because like most of the time your seat is actually lower than where your back tire and your bars are. So
Yeah.
when you loop out or you like throw the bike, it's weird to me that you'd break the front end off of it because it technically shouldn't even hit the front end of the
Yeah,
seat.
I threw it at a bench, so
That makes sense.
That'll do it. Yeah.
Oh fuck. Yeah, so stepping back from BMX again, how did you get into playing metal music?
Well, what got me into metal was classical music. Actually, I've been involved with music since I was a kid. I started piano when I was 10. I started guitar when I was 12. Sang the whole time, and then it was piano class that gave me an affinity for classical, and then in elementary school I joined the school band. So like the complexity of classical music and like you're playing a piece of music with like 30 other people, like there's a lot going on, and I think that's what fueled my intrigue for complex music, which is where metal fulfilled that, because there's generally a lot going on that is so dynamically different that it really feeds my soul, I guess.
Yeah, one of my favorites, I guess it would be like what they classify as stoner metal would be The Sword.
I've never heard them.
You've never heard of The Sword.
This is another thing I love about metal, because so everyone can have a 100 favorite bands and they're all different.
I'm going to write that down. I have to show you.
Okay.
There's an edit of Mark Melville. Do you know who Mark Melville is?
I've heard the name.
He's a like crazy fucking dirt rider, like absolute
Yeah,
insane
okay.
on trails.
Yep. That's familiar, yeah.
Yeah, so after this, I'll show you that video. It's fucking crazy. They use the Sword song on that as well.
Oh,
so
right on.
it's like the perfect fit, you know?
Yep.
I'm really into that stuff. I'm really, really, really into like ska punk bands.
Yep.
That's my thing, is just like punk music, ska punk, all that shit.
Yep.
I don't know why. I'm like, a lot of people hate it, you know? A lot of people hate the sound of ska music. They
No,
hate that there's
I'm a trumpet player too.
Yeah.
So that's
There you go.
I love it.
I wanted to get into playing trombone at some point. I'm like,
The hardest brass, man.
that's the thing. I'm like, I have no history of fucking any brass instrument at all.
Well, what's great with brass, like even with trumpet, like you can hit, there's like ideally like 25, 30 different notes you can hit with a trumpet, like through the octaves of pitch, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's only 3 valves. So a lot of it is embouchure, which is like the shape of your mouth inside the mouthpiece, where a trombone is just slide and embouchure. So you can, like, there's so much involved. Like for me, it was always when I was sliding a note, I'd always be either sharp or flat. So like I was like, I need something that it's a button. you know?
Oh, that's fair.
So, and I made that decision when I was like 13 in like grade 8. I'm like, I'm going to play trumpet. That's what I like the best. And I played it all through high school as well.
Yeah.
Like 14 of my 32 high school credits are music. So
Wow.
yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize you could. I guess you could because you can just pick out what courses you want.
Yeah, so
Like-
I did regular music class for all 4 years doing trumpet. I was in the school orchestra for 10 through 12 doing the trumpet. So there's 7 credits just trumpet. I did vocal class for 2 years. I did guitar class for 3 years. And then in 11 and 12, I was the TA for guitar for the younger
That's
class.
cool, man.
So like it was music, man.
Yeah, and what's kind of interesting, you know, I have some listeners that are from like Estonia and, you know, also the UK and whatnot. Shout out to you guys. But they might not know this. In Ontario, where we live in Canada, basically with high school, you actually get to pick, like, I think it's 12 of your courses. There's 16 courses that you have to take. They're mandatory. You have to take them. That includes, like, you know, a couple math courses. There's 4 English courses.
2 science.
2 science courses.
1 French.
1 French. Unless you're exempt like I was. And then there's a couple other ones you have to do as well. But yeah, you get to pick like 12 of your whatever courses. So I did auto for like 4 years in high school. I did a bunch of other stuff like...
Yeah, I did machine shop, I did wood shop, that kind of
stuff.
Dude,
I got a 35 in machine shop. 35% because I just fucked around. I did not give a fuck about that class at all.
Yeah.
And like, I felt so dumb when I got the report card, but I was like, the teacher is even like, I know that you're capable of doing all this. Yeah. You're just too busy fucking around. Like, I can't give you a good mark at all. I'm sorry.
That was too much in my high school, was that, man. Like, I got decent marks, but I did not try at all. Like, there was 0 effort involved.
I had like a really weird transition. Like, I keep forgetting to fucking use this thing. Sorry, guys. I'm like, I keep leaving the camera just on you or like the guest. Okay. Like, I have to switch it all the time. But anyways, yeah, I had a really weird high school career because like I was in a boarding school for 2 years.
What was that like?
Oh my god, dude, it was so weird.
So that's where you like go and live at the school, right?
Yeah. So last night, Taylor and I were watching the 4th season of Better Call Saul on Netflix. It's like one of my favorite shows. But anyways, in this season, Mike is like basically in control of this factory where these dudes are living, and they're basically like they're building a fucking underground meth layer. And but he's got video cameras everywhere. And like there's dudes watching the cameras and they're writing down your every fucking move. And I paused it. I was like, this is exactly what it was like, because the school that I went to was a school that's actually run by the government. So like it's really weird to explain, but like the school system here works by like public schools, so high schools, you know, elementary schools, middle schools, school boards, and then they get all their funding from like the Ministry of Ontario. Okay. Well, my school was directly at the Ministry of Ontario level. Like we didn't answer to any school boards at all. Like,
oh my god.
It was one of the things where only 40 kids in Ontario are eligible to go every year. So you have to prove that you're like, you know, that you want it and that you want to be there.
Right.
That's and like, cool. Man, I got to say, it was really cool. It was a good experience. It taught me a lot just about like life and growing up and how to be like, you know, an adult at, you know, a young age of 13. And that was like really weird, right? Because you're moving away from everything you've ever known to this fucking city.
It sounds like a life experience.
Yeah, man. And like I was saying, every fucking thing that you did, there's a person that writes it down with a timestamp. They write down what happened. They write down who you talked to. They write down every single thing. They're watching you on the video cameras constantly.
Really?
It was really fucking weird, man.
Was it like a social experiment, or that's just
no?
What
It's
they
just
did?
It's a way for them to, I guess, look at it from the outside and see how much progress you're making and where they can improve and stuff like that.
Okay.
But also, it's like, you know, you live away from your family, so it's a good way to see if somebody's like, you know, depressed or if they have like some sort of issues that's going on, and you know, they have to do it. You know, they're paid by the government and they need to monitor everything that's happening, because the last thing they want is for somebody to fucking, you know, be depressed and have a shitty time there, and like, Yeah, man, it was fucking rough.
Yeah.
Like, it was really hard to do all that stuff, but I'm glad I did it, and I wish I could talk to myself like right now, 10 years later and say, "Hey, you're going into this school,
Yeah.
fucking try your hardest.
Yeah.
Like, don't get used to just being here. Really try," because I was there for 2 years.
Yeah, it's funny. I've been saying I wouldn't mind going back 10 years to talk to myself, but I've been saying that for over 10 years now. It's like my son's 10. Like, I can't believe how fast time is flying.
And the problem too is that, a lot of parents or a lot of people will try and explain that to somebody that's younger. Be like, "Hey, you should
My
really
parents
try."
tried to explain that to me, and
That's
I
the
didn't want to
thing.
hear
My
it, man.
parents did too. It's just one of those things where you're ignorant, you don't know any
Yeah.
better. You just think, "Oh, you don't fucking know. Like, you don't know what my situation's like. You're not in it." And like, for my family, that's true because none of them went to a boarding school. None of them went to a school where they were away from the public, and
Yeah, but even with that said, like, two kids can go to the same school and have the same classes and have completely different experiences, right?
oh,
Like,
absolutely. I think
so
it's different for everybody.
It's funny. The one thing I would tell my younger self is that, like, as bad as it seems, it's not bad. It's just contrast to your whole experience. Like,
Yeah, and one of the things that I constantly hear from people is like, when I was younger, they would always say, "Oh, well, fucking, like, really pay attention, really do what you're doing here, because you're going to miss it. One day, you're going to miss these days."
yeah,
And I've been out of high school for about 5 years now, and I haven't missed it at all yet. I don't know if I'm just not at that age, but, like, I really didn't like my experience for grade 11 and 12. I think a big factor was the fact that for all of grade 9 and 10, I was living at a school. That plays a big part in that.
Yep.
But I don't know. I just don't miss it at all. I'm way happier with what I'm doing now than I was
too.
then.
My life is the epitome of meaningful now compared to back then. Like that. Those were the years that, like, BMX is really all I had keeping me going. Was like all through high school, the couple of years following high school. Like, I went to college, dropped out of college. Like, was in the hospital for a while. That didn't help myself either, right? Like, it was.
I think the only thing that I miss from high school was being able to ride as much as I did. I work every day now, which isn't bad, but like, it is one of those things that when I get home, I have other responsibilities now that I live on my own, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, being an adult isn't about having time; it's about having moments. Now, that's the thing. I forget what movie it was, but they said that, and I was like, "That's so true." Because, like, when you're young, you have time. It's like, "Oh, what are we gonna do today? Oh, I'll call Dave and see what he's up to," But now it's like moments is like, "Oh, that's delicious." Like, that moment's over. Now forget about your day. I forget what movie that was.
That's
so
really
funny,
good reference, man. I feel like that's so true. Because even with my friends, like, if we are gonna go out riding, we have to plan it days in advance. Whereas before, I'd literally just call them up and be like, "Hey, what are you doing?" Like, "Nothing."
Yeah.
"You want to come ride?" "Okay."
I remember it not even being that. It's like you just get home from school, grab your bike, go ride downtown, and like in Hamilton, it was like you'd ride through downtown, you'd ride past Banks in the Hood, go through Beasley, go to the roof, go to the art gallery, go to City Hall, and chances are you're going to run into someone. That's how it was back then.
Yeah, that's so true. Around here, it's like we have 3 different skate parks. And, or I guess 4 actually, but like for me, I fucking hate literally 3 of them. I love the Odd. That's my park, man. I don't like Waterloo. Waterloo is always filled with skaters, and there's nothing against them. But
the thing with the volcano in the middle?
That's the thing with the volcano in the middle.
Yeah,
so it's
something I want to try there, but that's all I can say about that park.
It's like a death circle. It's literally a giant circle, and it goes down into the middle.
Yeah,
so
like, it's
like
blind from both directions. So.
Yeah, I've definitely run into some kids there. Definitely like seen some kids get annihilated there.
Yeah,
it's a fun park if you and 5 guys are there, like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, that's like a 10 a.m. on a Tuesday kind of deal.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I would do for something like that.
Yeah, my dad always goes there and skates. He likes that park because they've got a good, like, curve ledge thing that he likes. Oh, yeah. So he goes there all the time. But for me, man, it's the Odd because, like, it's always a good session. Yeah. It's a big open park. So, like, even if there is 30 people off on one side, you're good. Like,
And I love that big, long, mellow up rail. That's so awesome
It's
to hit.
so cool, man.
Just go all the way up and like it's funny.
And
You
it's
take
so
a few
short
runs.
too that like
Yeah.
it's just easy.
It's fun because it's so mellow that it's not a big deal. That like you try and get your speed right that you go all the way up and then come all the way back down again. It's so fun. There's so much cool stuff at that park.
Yeah, and the bowl is just such an interesting shape too, right?
Yeah.
Like it's a really interesting setup there. There's a park in Durham, Ontario that has a bowl very similar, but it's like got 3 hips in it, I think.
Okay.
Which is interesting.
That
It's
sounds
really
neat.
strange, but it's not as tall, it's not as big. But it's like the same old school rollover transition.
Right on.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun too. I'm trying to think of all the like cool older parks like that because like Shell Park is cool, but it's built properly, I would say, to a certain extent. Whereas like
Yeah.
the transitions actually kind of, I don't know, at least when you hit the coping, you'll be able to air it. Whereas at the bowl at the odd,
Yeah.
if you can air that, you're only airing the hip or you're airing and you
Yeah.
have to pull so fucking hard
Well, yeah,
back.
it's almost like it's like a launch bowl.
It
than
is more of a
like-
launch bowl than
yeah.
anything.
Yep. Yeah, it's funny. Like you mentioned, Shell Park. Like I can't air out of that place, man. Like, I don't know. It's
Fair enough.
I've never been. I can't air much of anything, to be perfectly honest. I don't
think
like being sent. I don't like flying. Like being high off the ground's cool if I hop. You know.
Yeah. That's a good point, though. I think a lot of people don't know how to air properly.
Yeah.
And it's hard, man. To learn how to do a proper air on a quarter pipe is fucking hard.
Yeah. It
And
took
for
me a lot of
years.
years.
Oh, dude,
A lot
for
of years.
yeah, for me when I first started, I was doing the same thing where you hop before you make the coping.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
you gotta just ride through it.
You have to ride through it, and it's so scary to try it because
Yeah.
like. You know, you always think that you're just gonna fly out or that you're gonna case super
Yeah.
hard, but most of the time you won't. You
Yeah,
know?
I remember watching a video, and I think it might have been, it was one of the cult guys, like Dugan or something, was talking about it. And after I saw this, I forget, I think it was him, I'm not sure, but after I saw him talking about it, like, that's when it clicked for me. Like, it just made sense that, like, you want to feel the coping on your back tire when you go. Like, you want to,
Yeah.
like,
You really want to hear that da-da. Like that
Yeah.
is a big factor of it.
Yeah.
And the perfect air is when you feel both of that and then like, you know, you get the perfect transition when
Yeah.
you come back in.
yeah, that's why I love Inflow's mini ramp, because
Yeah, Inflow's mini ramp is sick, dude.
Yeah.
That ramp is so perfect for like everything, you know? It's awesome
Yeah.
for lip tricks. It's just the right amount of space where you can do a nice big air across, air that 8-foot extension, come back down, air across again.
Yeah.
There's a lot that you can do with that setup. And that was something that when we talked with Gabe, he was really saying that, you know, like that was one of their best decisions was building that ramp.
yeah,
Because
it's
like,
fantastic.
you know, when you go there on a day like today, where it's a Saturday and there's, you know, all sorts of people, it's not just bike night, like it's scooters,
That's the
there's
best thing
bikes,
to
there's,
ride when it's
yeah,
busy.
exactly. That's the one thing that you can always count on being able to ride because scooter kids aren't into mini ramps for the most
Yeah.
part. And skaters, yeah, they are, but at least they know for the most part how to actually like ride them. And
Yeah.
skaters don't ride at inflow. They really don't.
No, they don't. I honestly, if the only thing that would make that mini ramp bigger is sheeting it with regular plywood. You add some more grip because
Yeah.
it
I don't
gets-
mind that masonite though.
it gets slippery with. Well, I've like beat on tires
Yeah.
from riding street. They're not very grippy. Like I wash out on concrete sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah, I think it depends. I'm like, when I worked it all in, that was something that we really like focused on was every day I would sweep that bowl because it's with masonite.
yeah.
So like you just slide out, but it's one of the best feelings when you have a like, you know, sweater on or a hoodie and then you've got fucking pants on.
And you can just slide.
Yeah, you can literally just send the biggest thing and just let go and fucking jam and salmon into the vert wall. Like
Yeah.
it's just so
Yeah.
Yeah.
For that aspect of it, it's nice to have it smooth for sure.
yeah, I love that because like, you know, knock on wood, but I never really got hurt at the all-in bowl. And I rode that thing every day for months, doing the biggest transfers in it, doing the fastest lines, like trying to figure everything out, and I never really had an issue.
Yeah. I tend to be I lean a lot when I ride.
Yeah, I think too.
I get humbled when I ride inflow because it
Yeah.
takes like a couple almost going, oh crap, I almost just ate it, for me to really focus on like my weight distribution.
And I
You
think
can't be careless. Is what I mean.
I think a big part that plays into that too is that you are a bigger guy, so like when you lean on the side, it's a lot more pressure to the side rather than somebody else, right?
There's a lot of potential energy that's stored here.
Yeah. What's Jeff's ramp like? I
Amazing.
always see that, man. I always want to ride that.
Yeah, if anyone watching checks out my Instagram, there's a couple clips on there of riding that place. It is amazing. His old one was killer too. The 6-foot big wall that was built there. That was really cool too. That was the first like 6-foot mini that I ever put my pegs on. Like I learned to jump, or I learned like sub box trips out of a quarter pipe at his house. And his new little one is so much fun.
Yeah, he's got a little spine mini with a like slant wall extension, right?
Yeah,
and a sub box.
It's cool because the one half on the wall side, because the wall is like the whole thing.
Yeah.
But on one side, it's like it goes up like a quarter, and then you have to like gap onto the wall.
Yeah.
And then the other side is just straight vert wall, so you can actually like air up into the wall and just come right down.
Yeah, that's cool. I really want to learn. I suck at this trick, and I've never been good at it. But I ride brakes, so
yeah.
I want to do wall slaps. And I feel like that's the perfect place to do it, where it's like
a wall tap, and then
like
back
a wall
in.
Fufanu. Yeah,
yeah. I learned those actually at Shebang back in like 2005. Yeah.
Nice.
Yep. That was I was riding a Kink Defender frame back then. That was a good trip. But yeah, I had brakes for that trip. That was one of the few times I had brakes, and I learned wall taps out of a quarter. Jeff's ramp would be perfect for it. Really.
Yeah, because it is such a small little ramp. The thing that I'm always worried about is like, I want to try and get good at them, but I'm one, a bitch, and two, inflow is like, when you hit that, they have that really perfect bank to wall in there.
Yeah.
But when you go into it for a wall slap, I don't know. I just feel like it would be kind of weird because you're throwing all of your weight into it.
You know what? The thing.
But I feel like it's probably the perfect spot. I feel like I'm just overthinking it.
I think Jeff's would be easier because it has like training to kick you.
Yeah,
out.
you go up rather than in.
Yeah, but that again with the stuff at inflow, like the only critique I have is that it's masonite, because I'm just desensitized. I'm not comfortable because it's slick.
Yeah.
I
can get behind that. I feel the opposite. I like that it's masonite, but I think that's just me.
Yeah, it's my issue, not inflow's issue. Obviously, the place is amazing.
But. Yeah, and I've said this so many times. Inflow has 100% figured out the best possible setup. For that space. A lot of parks have tried to build, a good park in a small space like that, and they can't do it. Whereas inflow, you literally get the best of everything at inflow, because you've got that perfect street setup.
Yeah.
You've got the mini ramp. You've got that resi jump. You got the park section. Everything works perfectly there.
Yeah. Well, even Rail City in St. Thomas, when that place was there, I rode that place there was I think 4 different setups over the time the times that I had gone there. Shout out to Pylon in the back of Jeff's Jetta back in those days. They had more space than inflow has, and it was never nearly as good as what inflow has done. Like Will and Gabe and the rest of the guys that have put time in that place. Thanks.
Dude, so much respect, right? I hear a lot of people really want that curved wall by the quarter pipe back.
Yeah,
I'm like, that would be really cool.
Now that I'm not, wouldn't be scared to put my tires on it. I wouldn't mind having it back for a day. That's for sure.
Yeah, I always hear that that's like the perfect spot. A good curved wall.
Yeah, there's nothing like that feeling.
Yeah. I'm like, street curve walls are always really hard to find too.
It's the only one I've ever done. There's one in Hamilton. There's a clip on my Insta of that. If anyone checks that out too, that curve wall is fantastic. It's like landscaping, retainment wall stones in a curve. So it's it's got like a 5-degree bank to it. So you just stick and just, it's awesome.
I think I have something really similar that I'm about to show you. This is really cool. Look at that. So I run this street page on Instagram.
Oh, wow. That looks like something Stefan needs to put his tires on.
Oh,
'Cause
absolutely.
that guy is beast mode all of the time.
So what's interesting is like you can't really see it because I try and hide that stuff out of the photos.
Yeah,
But
sure.
there's actually like a little roof thing right here, and
No
these
way.
are like so it's really weird. There's like a roof there, so it's really awkward when you're riding through it because like you can't hop until you're past the roof because it'll hit your head,
Right.
and you don't have that much space. But dude, it fucking rides really well. Definitely, I'll have to send him that and be like, fucking come to Kitchener. Like,
Yeah.
come hang out.
Yeah.
Stefan's awesome.
Yeah,
He has such a good style. You know, I love the fact that he's
Yeah.
like so mid school. He reminds me of like, oh, who's a guy? The Shift Life. Do you know who the Shift Life is on Instagram?
No.
Oh my god, I gotta show you this guy. Here, I'm gonna pull it up on this. Here, I'll pull it up on this behind me. This guy is so fucking cool. He always blows my mind with the tricks that he has. Instagram.
Yeah, it's funny how, like, thinking now, like, most people do ride brakeless. But, like, I remember when, like, me and Stefan and TJ were, like, the few brakeless guys, like, in Hamilton. Pretty much everyone had brakes.
Yeah.
That's why the brakeless Drew thing came around. That's what people called me. Like, people were like, "Oh, it's brakeless Drew," because everyone else had brakes.
How funny is that, eh? And now you're riding brakes, are you not?
Yeah, I am. That's part of the dad mode thing. When my son was asking, basically every time we rode to take his brakes off, I'm like, I just put them on to show him that you can ride with them, right?
Riding with brakes is like, I don't know. I rode brakeless for a while, but ever since I put brakes on, I haven't taken them off. I love riding brakes.
Yeah, I haven't taken them off because Adam set them up at station. So if I touch them at all, they're gonna feel like dog crap.
Yeah, you don't want to fuck with those. All right, so here's the Shift Life on Instagram. Definitely go check this guy out. Can you see it on this screen?
That looks exciting.
Okay. Here we go.
I want to go riding with this guy.
Yeah, he's like a New York guy. This is awesome. Nice, like you can hear it in the headphones. Nice crusty ledge to bar.
I love that.
Yeah.
That was the one thing I missed most about having metal pegs at the end. The reason I got them back. What the heck?
See, I'm like, this dude is so... I feel like Stefan has the same fucking seat on his bike. Like,
yeah. That's I had an animal seat. That's the one I broke in my ass on at the golf park was the animal seat.
That's awesome. All right, here we go. Another Shift Life clip.
Yeah, see, like, this is like, this guy, riding with this guy would be like riding, seeing this kind of stuff is like going riding with me, Steph, Cole, and Jeff. We all do these funny jibs things.
Here we go.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't know why I like this guy so much. I'm like, his clips are always hilarious. He's always shredding.
Yep.
There's like, every clip that I see of him is always really good. He posts almost every day, too. Oh, this is really cool. You guys like this. You gotta get Jeff on this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so for you guys listening on Spotify or other platforms, the Shift Life basically just did took like a barrier, like a metal fence barrier.
Yeah,
and
four guys holding it.
Yeah, 4 guys holding it, and then tire rides it to bar out.
It's crazy.
Yeah, he's fucking dope.
It's nuts.
Yeah, he's definitely pretty rad. Is there any riders that you want to shout out? Like any local dudes?
I don't know. I'm kind of out of the scene, to be honest.
Yeah, it's been a while, eh?
Yeah.
So you know what? That transitions into my next topic here. How has having kids affected riding for you?
Well, it's more of like what you were saying. How like you got to plan for it. Like I got to plan for pretty much everything when you have a family, you know. So the other thing that's changed is like I wear a helmet and I have brakes on my bike. Like that's to set a good example, but also so I get to go home to them. And
yeah,
it's funny because like I've had a few real bad rocks to the brain over the years, and I never really wore a helmet. even in spite of that. Like I've got knocked out, like out cold twice, real bad riding, and I didn't wear a helmet for even a few years after that. Then I started riding a helmet after Luke was born, and which is a good thing because
He's your oldest, right?
Yeah,
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, so my son is Lucas. He's 10, and I have a 2-year-old daughter as well.
Yeah.
So after Luke was born, I bought a helmet and wore it sometimes. But then I just was lucky enough to have one on one day. I was riding the Brantford skate park with Cole, and I was doing a feeble to 180 off this ledge that was curved around. So I was on the outside. So when I 180'd off, my front tire hung up and I went down right onto the back of my head. And lucky I was wearing my helmet because like I saw stars and my helmet was like there was a chunk worn out of it. Like I smashed my head. I would not have been okay had I not worn my helmet that day. And I've not rode without it since.
Yeah, and I started wearing a helmet recently again. Like I was always on the fence about it. I would always wear one when I rode park and then not when I rode street. Just because riding street, I always I wear the full face. So riding street, you don't get that peripheral vision.
Sure.
Luckily, my helmet actually does go far enough back where I can get most of it.
Yeah.
But then you do have that front piece, right? Like I was telling, I think
Yeah.
either Cole Dow or Mike Gray, and they were asking like, well, how do you see the stuff that's kind of below you? And the best answer is that you can't, right? Like, because you have that little piece right about here. Well, but if you're looking forward, you're fine.
You accept your field of view, right?
Yeah.
Because I wear glasses. I didn't even wear glasses for the first 25 years of my life. And the first year I had glasses, I rode with them on. And it was so weird because your peripherals are basically gone because they're out of focus.
Yeah.
Right? So you get used to turning your head more, and I had to stop because I when I ride, if I'm riding that day, I just don't put glasses on that morning so my eyes can adjust because where I'm looking, when I'm going at a trick or where I'm looking at the ground, the frames are right in my comfort position of where my head would be, where I can see of front and what I'm doing. So I don't know. With that said, I know guys that have always rode with glasses. Like Andrew Gobo's one of them. He's had glasses since the day I met him. How he rides with glasses, it doesn't compute for me. It must be tough.
Yeah, Eric Weir, actually, you were talking about him earlier. He wears glasses, can't wear them when he rides. Yeah. I think there's maybe a few clips that we've done with him wearing them, but it's very rare that he'll wear them unless he's not riding.
Yep.
And it's always funny because we'll literally there'll be times where we'll be at the park and he'll just hang out for half an hour and he'll put his glasses back on and just hang out. And then when he goes to ride again, take them off. Yeah. Because his main thing is that he doesn't want to, face plant with them on, obviously. And,
definitely.
He has said, I don't know if this is true, but if you wear contacts, if you were to get knocked out, they can get fucking stuck.
Oh, yeah.
Or something. Sure. Yeah, so I don't know how that works. And also contacts are they got to be hard to put in. I'm so lucky that my vision isn't fucked up, so.
Yeah, I'm not blind without them. It just helps when I have them, right?
Yeah. So, Eric is fucking blind. I don't know how the hell that he rides without them. It blows my mind. But then my buddy Clayton, he rides with glasses on all the time. He can't ride without them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's strange, eh?
So, you just have to accept your field of view. Because I'd rather everything be kind of blurry than have a certain spot that I can see really well with. Because usually I'm going quick enough. I don't see that well anyway, so it doesn't matter.
There you go. Oh, man. So, you're mentioning, you don't want to get hurt in front of your kids, obviously, or just get hurt in general.
Just hurt in general, because I need to go to work like that. My job is to provide for my family. They are what I live for. So
there you go.
Riding is just icing on the cake, man.
Yeah.
So
that's a good point.
It's not worth getting hurt for.
Is your son getting into BMX at all?
Yeah. He's been in flow a few times recently with one of his friends is a scooter kid, so he's in on scooters too. He does like riding BMX though, but like I said, he's outgrown his 18. He's had a We the People 18 for the last few years, and he's pretty stoked to be getting a new bike this year. So
hell yeah, man! I'm wondering what the best bike would be for him. You know?
I don't know.
There's so many good bikes out there nowadays.
Yeah, considering
every company, dude. Honestly,
and they're
every
better
company.
than the completes we started with. By
Yeah,
far,
a lot of the companies, like for the most part, you can't buy a complete bike that isn't going to be decent. You know?
Yeah. Well, now I think the best bang for the buck is the Sunday stuff. Depending on which model you get, I know a few years when I was looking at getting my S&M that I have now. That's when Sunday came out with it. I think it's the Forecaster, the Gary Young Complete. And man, if you parted that bike out, it would cost you almost double the money to just buy all the parts that came on that bike, like $1,500 and it came with a clutch cassette or a clutch free coaster, and full pro spec everything. Completes are way better than they used to be.
And that's a big part of it too, right? Because they want to be able to give you the best products, so they might as well just put a lot of their aftermarket stuff on there, right? They'll cut corners with certain stuff, a lot of the tires that you'll find on those bikes can't even do more than 60 psi, but
yeah, which
that
wouldn't do well for me at all.
Oh, definitely
I run
not.
100, so
yeah, I'm different with my tires. I like to ride probably 70, 80 tops.
I do like 85 to 100 in the back, and then 65 to 80 in the front. Just keeps it easier on the wrists a little.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to fuck up your wrists.
No.
Oh man, my computer's dying. I gotta plug this cable in. That means we've been going for a while. Okay. Hell yeah, that's fine with me, man. Yeah, so let's see. Oh man, I only got one more question for you. We were doing pretty good on this.
Oh, well, then we'll go off on a little tangent.
Hell yeah.
Funny thing about my band that I'm in, my drummer I was talking about. He used to ride BMX as well. That's how we became friends, actually.
That's so cool.
Yeah, the Andrew Gobo's Hamilton video that's on YouTube. He's in the mixed section of that. His name's Jigs. He's a metalhead too. He rode on the mountain. He was a mountain guy from the Mountain Crew way back in the day. He used to ride a T1 Barcode. He still has it. It's awesome.
Yeah, dude, those T1 frames are sick.
Yeah.
I actually kind of really want one next.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know how much they are, and you have to custom order them now.
Yeah.
You can't just buy one. You have to order it.
Yeah.
I think.
I wouldn't mind having one and just spec it out for what I want next. Because I'm really happy with my bike. I would change a couple things right now, though, dimensionally. Because I got the BTM because one of the main reasons was because it had the 11.5 bottom bracket height. Because that every bike I ever had, that's what it was. And then the ATF at the time was 11.7. And I'm like, oh, that's going to feel weird. Not realizing that's what keeps my sprocket out of the way during grinds.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a couple buddies. My buddy Nick, he really, really likes crooked grinds. Yeah. And he bases his entire frame purchases off of bottom bracket height.
Yeah.
That's a big deal to him.
Yeah, well, I've never really been good at crookeds because, I've always gone for it and my sprocket blows me off. Well, because I come from an era of 44-tooth sprockets as well, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I don't know. I've never had an issue with that. I don't know if maybe I'm just getting the right frames all the time. I ride a 28 tooth, but I also do what I think would be a switch crook because a lot of people crook with their, I don't know. I always crook. Basically, I'm dick-footed when it comes to grinds.
Right.
So I'm
right foot forward, but you grind left side?
Wait, no. Okay. Right foot forward. Now I have to figure this out. Yes, right foot forward. Left side grind.
Yeah,
there we go.
Yeah, so left
it's
side.
Been a fucking while, guys.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
So yeah, that is
technically dick-footed. Yeah.
So I'm left foot forward, left grind.
Okay, so maybe that's why. Because for me, when I do crooked grinds, I lift my front tire over so that it's on the right side peg.
Yeah.
And most people do it so that it's the other way around, right? If they're the same foot stance as me.
Yeah,
because most people
it would be,
whatever foot they ride forward, they grind with typically.
Usually, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how I ended up doing that. That was just something that I think.
I've been 4 pegs for since 2002, so.
Yeah, I have 4 pegs. I rarely use the back right one. I can do feeble grinds and the average double peg stuff, but I don't know. I like my crooked grinds. and I just like that extra peg.
Yeah.
Like, it just seems weird not to have it on there. I used to ride only 3, but
Yeah, Switch Feeble 270s for me are one of my favorite tricks of all time.
hell yeah.
On like a sub box or a rail or anything. Like, I love that trick so much.
Fuck yeah, man. Are you guys releasing any new music soon? I know you guys were talking about like tracking and stuff. So.
Yeah, we're in the middle of pre-production right now for my album. We have all the pre-pro tracking finished. I'm just finishing writing stuff because like this is my baby. Like, it's basically what I've been working on for the last 20 years, being a guitar player. So I'm over picky. I want it to be really, really good, so I'm not rushing the finished product. And seeing as we're producing it ourselves, there's no deadline to be heard of. So there will be a 7-track record coming out probably within the next year or so.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Take your time with it, you know?
Yeah.
I was saying to you beforehand, you know, just the fact of like, when it comes to creating something, really take your time, really just, you know,
Yeah.
work and make something good, you know?
Because that's the thing. I don't want to, like, because I'm not going to sell it. I'm not going to sign with anything. I'm just going to put it out on the internet for free for everyone to enjoy. So I want what the world gets to be something that isn't good enough. I want it to be good.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. That's a good point. My buddy Jason, he plays in a punk band now, but he also produced electronic music. He's the one that made cheers, by the way.
Oh,
Sorry,
cheers.
we didn't do that. Yeah, he was the one that made the music for Space Goats.
Very cool.
And that was something where his music, he spent like almost a year and a half just on 5 songs
Yeah.
and like just getting them perfect. And they sound insane, you know? Like, his thing was with electronic music, you know, he noticed that a lot of people do the same thing where there's like a build up, drop, little melody part, build up, drop.
Yeah.
He didn't like that at all. The music that he produced was like, he really took influence from like the newer Daft Punk style, as well as like Justice. That's his favorite band. He has the crosses from Justice on his fucking hands, like tattooed. But yeah, that was something where like, to him, he really liked the fact of not having those like average things. So all of his music, you know, incorporates like lots of layers and whatnot.
I can relate to that. Like, being a musician for as long as I've done it, like, I understand how bands, like, they put out an album, they get huge, and they keep it going and tour for years. Like, I get it. Like, there's a formula. Like, if you check all the boxes on the formula, the general public is gonna want to listen to your music. There's a recipe psychologically that makes music pleasing. And that's the other thing why I love metal so much too, is that there's so much stuff that's outside that box, and my music is way outside that box. Like, you could every song of those 7 songs you could fit into a different subgenre of metal. Like, there's a song for everyone. Like, there's songs that are only really heavy, hard screaming. I have a song that there's no screaming at all. So, like, there's so much dynamic from song to song, and structurally, like, for music, you have your like intro, verse, chorus, bridge, outro, rinse and repeat, you know. But like, I have a couple songs that nothing repeats at all. Like, there's no chorus. The song just keeps going. There's another part, and then another part, and then another part. Like, there's no chorus in a few of my songs. So
Yeah, and it's always interesting when you don't have that, you know? A lot of people, it is something where if you can step outside the box and create something that a lot of people aren't doing, if you can do it right, it sounds really fucking good. There's a lot of risk at it, right? Because a lot of people don't like that. Like, I don't know, myself personally, my kind of thing when it comes to music is that anything that's just put in front of you isn't really going to be good. You know, what I'm talking about is like the radio, you know, bands that get like, you know, there's definitely quite a few bands that are really good that get played on the radio, but there's a lot of just shit on there. There's a lot of just crap that isn't very good, at least in my mind, My thing is you'll find music that really speaks for you or like that really means a lot to you if you actually go and look for it, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of the stuff that gets played on the radio doesn't actually have the heart and soul that's put into other bands, you know?
I would say vast majority of it doesn't have that soul. It's a lot of things are just checking those boxes on the formula. That's not to say that there aren't artists out there that are doing it, like, because there's a difference between a musician and a recording artist. There's a difference, right? Like the difference would be like Britney Spears is a recording artist. Taylor Swift is an artist. She is a musician. She writes all her own shit. She plays her own stuff. Like, that's...
And
she might
she's
do pop music.
Pretty fucking bangable in my eyes, at least.
Yeah, she's easy on the eyes, but like she's a pop star, but she is a musician and an artist first. Where she doesn't have producers that are crafting every single song. She doesn't have songwriting team. She doesn't it's not fueled by the industry. She does it, and like she has creative control. Like it's funny.
That's a really good point, man. You know, and I feel like since she is seriously probably the biggest name out there nowadays.
That's proof in the pudding that true art means more than just fulfilling the formula.
I think I heard that she was one of the top paid entertainers in the world for 2019 or 2018, one of those years.
Well, my wife was watching the documentary of her, and I caught some of it. Like, she should be fucking making that kind of money. Like, she's legit.
Yeah.
Because I always thought she was just some pop star. And
that's kind of what I've always done.
And I was like, all right.
Yeah, I've always just considered her as some pop star, but I wasn't too sure. So I'm like, the people that just, like, you know, it's really weird. The music industry is something where, you know, like you were saying, you have recording artists and you have artists. And recording artists typically just go and they will take other people's songs and they'll do the vocals. Yeah, they'll perform them, they'll do all that stuff. They'll claim it as their own.
Yeah, and what sucks now is that most recording artists now are an extra level of crap because you can fix so much digitally. Like, pitch correction is like... It's like giving someone it's like taking a limitless pill where it gives you an extra 100 IQ, having pitch correction. Like, it took me 15 years of like regular vocal training before I felt confident to sing in front of people. 15 years. Because I've never used auto-tune. And I never will.
So here's an interesting thing. How do you feel about vocal training? Do you think it's essential to somebody, or do you think that maybe somebody should just kind of stick without doing it? I have a friend who plays in a band, and you know, he was saying that it's something that they're starting to talk about, but he's just unsure on it. And I don't know. I'm like, I feel like whatever you're doing, it's just gonna help you. Like, realistically, sure, you'll learn a lot from it.
Yeah, like here's the difference is that I've been singing longer than I've been playing guitar for. Vocal lessons are something that if you're a singer and you really want to sing, vocal lessons from anyone generally are going to improve what you're doing. Finding the right person for whatever type of technique you're doing, like whatever style of music you're doing, finding a teacher that is familiar with giving you the tools to improve that type of performance is like paramount. But like, I took guitar lessons for like 2 months and quit. Like, he didn't teach you. He was trying to teach me the 12-bar blues, and I wanted to learn Green Day, and he wouldn't teach it to me. So I quit, went home, put on Green Day Dookie, and learned the whole thing by ear. And like, I would say vocal lessons are more important for a singer than guitar lessons are for a guitar player.
Yeah, I can kind of agree with that, because with singing, sure, you can listen, you can try and figure it out, but, you know, unless you're literally like how I'm set up right now, where you've got the headphones and you've got the mic right there, you'll never really tell, because with a guitar, this is hard to explain, but when you're playing guitar, it's unnatural. It's not something that you listen to all day, whereas you listen to yourself talk all fucking day.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too, is like, you can practice guitar and you get a good idea for how it sounds. You can't practice singing on your own and get a good idea for how it sounds, because how it sounds through this is not how it sounds in your own mind. Like that, you'll notice. I don't know how many performances I've seen, or even, excuse me, like national anthems in like football game. Like the singer will come out, they'll start singing. 2 words in, they pop that monitor out of their ear because they're like, nope, like either the mix is bad, but 9 times out of 10, it's like, well, the pitch is off because the pitch in here is not what I'm singing to in here. So like, you'll see that come out all the time. Like it does change what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's good to listen to what you sound like, you know? For me, when I first started doing this, it was really hard to actually, like, I remember sitting in my room when I was living with my dad and just, like, trying to say lines for Space Goats because it's part animated, right?
Yep.
And I just felt like such a fucking idiot with these headphones on and just like, oh my God, my voice sounds so stupid and all this stuff. But, like, now it's so natural for me. Like, I love having these headphones on. I use them every single time I do the show just because it helps, like, you know, a lot of people, if you're listening, I control everything. I don't know if you guys have watched the show before, but I literally sit here controlling the mix board. I control all the cameras. I do the interview. I do everything.
Yeah, there's no staff here.
Yeah. No staff. I'm fucking way too poor for that. Oh, man. How's that hazy state going?
It's pretty good. This is one of the first IPAs I've not cringed at. It's funny. We're talking craft beer before the show. Like I'm a beer guy. I like beer. I'm not one way or the other. But like a lot of the craft beer I've had I find is like really like hoppy. Like it's like too like fresh and bitter. Cause like I like dirty American beer. Like I like Busch. Like whenever I'm with Jeff and the boys, it's Busch all day. But if I'm by myself, it's usually PBR because like I'm a pretty easy to please kind of guy. But this is delicious.
Yeah, for me, I'm like, I fucking love craft beer. It's seriously one of my favorite things. Like I have such a, I don't know, I love it so much. Taylor and I, aka HVXgoat, we're actually going to start a craft beer podcast where we talk to different like breweries and stuff as well.
Right on.
But it's something that like, you know, it speaks so well to me and I love it just because, like, I don't know, it's so good. But on top of that, it's really expensive for one, which sucks. But, you know, like you were saying with the actual, like, IPAs and stuff, it all depends on the kind of hops that they use. Each beer is different, right? Like,
oh, yeah. That's what I realized with this whole craft beer revolution is how you it's called beer. But, like, there's more variety with beers than there are with soda pop.
Oh, my God, yeah. And, like, a thing to think about, too, is that, you know, the hazy state that you're drinking right now from Collective Arts, the way that it's brewed is 100 times different than the way that Bone Shaker, one of my favorite IPAs, is brewed. Bone Shaker is a super rough, hard-drinking beer where it's, like, 8%. It's very, very hoppy. It gives you like a grapefruit taste afterwards. It's very, 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 very bitter. And a lot of people don't like it.
Sure.
You know? But whereas this one is super easy to drink. It's very fruity, right? It's very mellow. It all depends. Like, and I think that's what I love about craft beers. It's so different. Like every time that you have it for the most part.
Yeah, every craft beer is like a metal band. It's different than the last.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's funny talking about a complex beer that was strong. Reminds me of a time Jeff and I stupidly went to the LC. This was like, I think this was the first summer I was 19. And we just bought random singles of all the stupidest stuff we could see. And we were like going through, like we were like doing a tour of Europe with the beers. And there was one, it was horrible, that I remember Jeff picked up. It was called Duckstein. It had like a picture of a duck on the label. It was awful. It was, I think, one of the worst tasting things I've ever drank in my life. It was the worst beer. But it was like 12%. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, that's so fucking crazy, eh? When you get into the high percentages, there's one, it's a triple IPA, and it's from Flying Monkey, and I think they're in Barrie.
Okay, but I've heard the name Flying Monkey before.
Yeah, they make a ton of really cool beers, but this triple IPA is a 12% IPA, and it's literally so fucking strong, and it's unfiltered, so like when you pour it into a glass, you'll see like chunks in it. It's really fucking like, if
That's
you're not a
interesting.
beer drinker, you're gonna look at that and be like, I'm not fucking drinking that. Like that's
Yeah.
gross. But
That's like
it's
old school beer.
yeah, it's really good for the actual like product. The way that it looks, you're
Yeah.
like this is gonna be awful, but it's actually not bad.
That's cool. That's cool that it's unfiltered. It's like it's so you can enjoy a beer the way beer was made before filters were invented.
Pretty much.
Like they've been making beer for hundreds of years, right? Like,
Yeah.
Man, that's pretty neat.
Yeah, dude, I like those unfiltered ones.
Yeah.
They're pretty fucking good.
Yeah, it sounds like something that's worth trying.
Hell yeah, do it up. I'm
Yeah.
trying to think of some good ones.
Actually,
Muskoka Brewery.
yeah,
they
their good
they're
stuff's good.
they're all unfiltered, all
Yeah.
of their beers. So
I've tried a couple.
yeah, that one's really good.
Actually, funny I had a pretty decent craft beer at Canada's Wonderland of all places.
Really?
Yeah,
and it
great.
cost you $25.
Not bad, actually. It was like $11 for a tall can, or like 2 for $20.
Jeez.
And it's made by Great Lakes Brewing,
Nice.
but it was they named it after the roller coaster. It's called Leviathan Lager, and it's actually pretty good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I actually have. If you look right there, that's a Great Lakes poster.
Oh, perfect! I didn't take the time to read it. I'm staring at this octopus the whole time.
That's so funny. Eh? Yeah. That's seriously one of my favorite IPAs. Is Octopus Likes to Fight by Great Lakes.
Yeah, I'll have to give it a try because
It's fucking delicious,
Yeah.
dude. It's seriously so good.
every beer of theirs I've tried, I've liked so far.
Yeah, Great Lakes is seriously the best. Taylor and I go there all the time. Like, we went to Montreal a couple times in the last 2 years, and every single time, it's like we're driving right past it because it's
Yeah.
right off the highway in Toronto.
Right.
So we'll get off, go there at like 11 a.m. and be
Yeah.
pouring pints.
I was actually talking to my buddy TJ, I was saying moved to Montreal some years ago. I was talking to him the other day. We're talking about maybe doing a Montreal day or a Montreal weekend this summer. That would be
Hell yeah.
awesome. And he lives right near the Olympic Stadium. And he
Nice,
said
dude.
there's just spots galore.
Dude, absolutely. Montreal, for any of you guys listening, Montreal is the fucking place to be for BMX or
Yeah.
skateboarding.
Or if
The
you're a hockey
culture, dude.
fan, go Habs go.
Oh my god, the culture there is incredible.
Yeah.
Like everything that happens there is insane.
Yeah.
Like we went and we rode this spot. It's called Peace Park. And it's in like the middle of downtown Montreal. And it's basically just a bunch of marble ledges.
Yep.
It's like whatever, like this is a normal flat spot. Like we rode there for close to 3.5 hours. A bunch of people showed up and they were loving it. We
Yeah.
were sitting there, we drank a fucking 12-pack of 5.9 PBRs and like got this fucking guitar dude so drunk. And literally cops would drive by, they would walk by, wave, and then just leave. They wouldn't
Yeah.
even care. Like
Yeah.
it was so crazy to me, like I love that about Montreal, where it's just such a fun place to be. And like when we were downtown Montreal, the amount of fucking spots we found just by biking around, we're literally like, oh my god, there's a spot over there, but oh my god, there's a spot over there. Whoa, there's another one right over there.
Yeah.
Like, no, we have to go to this one. It's over there. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
well, why can't we do these ones? Like,
That's like every Toronto trip I find. Like we'll be getting toured around in Toronto, and we ride by so many things that, like, especially me and Cole, because we love like little jibby shit, that we'll be like, we're gonna stop here, and then Pete will be like, no man, the spot's down here, and it's like, well, this would be like half a day in Hamilton. Like we'd stop at this stupid thing for half a day.
how awesome is that? You
Yeah.
know, I love the fact that like with BMX, you can literally just look around and be like, holy shit, I could spend half
Yeah.
a day just riding
Oh
this.
yeah, like Montreal is a beautiful city. I was lucky enough to spend 4 days there last summer, but I didn't have my bike. We went to PEI for a road trip last summer, and we stopped in Montreal for 4 days on the way home, and it was beautiful. It's my favorite city I've ever been in. Just walking around the place was amazing.
And one of the things that, like, I had my buddy Ben, he's from the UK. He came over during the summer, and he toured all of Quebec.
Cool.
And he was saying that Montreal, and like a lot of people know this, Montreal is the most English-speaking city that speaks French in all of Quebec.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time, they'll actually try and help you out there. Whereas if you go to Quebec City and you don't know French, they won't even fucking talk to you.
Actually, I spent half a day in Quebec City on the way out to PEI.
How'd that go?
I've had better I A funny thing actually. I was getting bags out of the car because my daughter was only 1 at the time. We're driving like 1,700 kilometers in 2 days. So I drove through the night so they could all sleep while I drove. So we were only in Quebec City for like 12 hours. And in that time, like my tablet in my backpack got driven over by the fucking valet guy.
Whoa.
And then I had an argument with a not very Anglo speaking person in the foyer of the hotel. It was an interesting experience, that's for sure.
Yeah, I don't
Not
need
to
to go to
deter-
Quebec City. I like Montreal.
I want to go back to Quebec City to like spend a couple days there to just like see the old Quebec City, like cobblestone roads and all that.
Yeah.
Like, because there's buildings there from like the 1500s, right? So.
Have you seen the Van Buren Bowl that Vans built at Olympic Stadium in Montreal?
No, but I want to.
It's they still have it there too. You can go and ride it.
No way, you can ride it?
Yeah, it's still there. It's there for the public.
Okay.
It's fucking incredible, dude.
Montreal this summer, bud.
Yeah, let me see if I can find that here. Let's pull that up. Like, it's seriously so cool.
It's not a bad drive either. It's like maybe 8 hours.
It's only, it's like 8 hours. And there's if you stop in Picton, it's like a 40-minute drive out of the way. Like, 20 minutes there, 20 minutes back. It is definitely a big pit stop, but they have a really cool skate park in Picton. And then they have dispensaries all around Picton because it's all Indian reserves. So, like, they're just allowed to fucking do it.
Yeah.
And, dude, I picked up so much fucking crazy weed there. I found my favorite, weed strain, which is gelato.
Yeah.
It, like, literally doesn't even look like weed.
It's so strange.
Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Let me pull this up. So...
Yeah, there's a lot of parks in Ontario I want to ride. Jeff and I have been talking for years about doing like a camping trip for a few days where drive like 4 or 5 hours to a skate park, ride all day, go to a campsite for the night, and then do the same thing again the next. And just like do that for a few days, check out a bunch of different stuff. But I think Montreal this year would be fantastic. That's the bowl?
Yeah, let me pull up the big photo of this. Oh, motherfucker. I wanted to look at the big photo. They don't let me. Here, let me save it, and I'll it's almost there, guys. Sorry, I know I'm wasting all your time.
Oh, I like bowls.
Oh my god, dude. This is the fucking bowl to be at. It looks incredible.
I like the bowl at Iceland. In Mississauga.
Iceland's bowl is actually really good. It's very
It's very vert-like because it's like 7 feet deep. It's big if you're not comfortable with transition.
It is, but it's very easy to ride. So this is definitely not the best photo I could find of it. However,
that looks fantastic.
Yeah,
with a few extensions in that looks right up my alley.
See, I'm like, they have a cool vert section over there,
Yeah.
and then they've got like this nice waterfall and a bunch of other shit. This seriously looks like so much fun, and it's right at Olympic Stadium.
Yeah,
like, it's so crazy to me, and it's still there. Apparently, anybody can go and ride it. You might have to.
How much did that cost Vans? That probably cost them $200,000 to put that bowl in.
And I think a big thing too is that we were seeing a lot of this with X Games, and they still do it now. Is that they build it in these crazy stadiums, but it's all built. That's the thing. It's all built with like very, very small layers of concrete, or the way that they do it is basically that it's easy to get rid of. When I'm like, why don't you just fucking pay a little bit extra and just build the craziest skate park in a community,
and then leave it there,
and then just hold an event and then just leave it there?
Yeah, that would be amazing.
That was something that. Do you remember the Nike Tunnel Jam?
No.
You never saw the Nike Tunnel?
No.
Dude, oh my god, I gotta pull this up now. The Nike Tunnel Jam happened probably like over 10 years ago. It's a really big event.
Excuse me, sorry
They
guys.
actually left this skate park in this fucking tunnel. Here, let me find this. Nike Tunnel Park. Yeah, this is really fucking cool. I have to save this.
Okay, I've seen photos of this before.
Yeah.
That looks cool.
I know, I'm like, oh, this is perfect. We'll just go straight to the website. So yeah, this is this is a really cool like little section, eh? You've got this big over the whole like section.
Wow.
This like crazy hips, right? And it's so cool because it is like a tunnel, and with all this brick, like you can ride up that. And apparently they actually left it there, and people can go and ride it. So
That looks like
I don't
fun.
know if it's
like
still
a snake
around.
run through a tunnel.
yeah, I know. I'm like, I wish people would do more of that because it was really fucking cool.
Yeah. That's super neat.
Yeah, man. Fucking BMX is cool, eh? You can just do shit like that.
Yeah, that's it. I can't think of any other sport other than like the other extreme sports like skating and snowboarding, that kind of stuff, where like there's no other sport that it's really you're encouraged to be yourself before anything else.
Oh, exactly.
Because you're even a team of riders, like they might ride the same frame, but like they're
All
individuals,
different
you know?
individuals. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Oh man, this has been awesome. But I have one more question for you.
Fire away.
What advice would you give to the younger BMX riders of today?
Don't be a snowflake. If you're finding yourself being easily offended, you should probably be offended a little more often, because you need to grow some thick skin, because the world is not a nice place. And that is the whole reason why the guys at the skate park are shit talking you. Don't be sad. Tell them their socks are stupid or something. Like,
Hey, look at that.
Yeah, avocados.
Got some avocado socks right
yeah,
there.
There you go. And then the other thing is in this new age of extreme political correctness, don't be afraid to use the word pussy, because it does not infer any type of femininity whatsoever. When you call someone a pussy, you're not calling them a girl. Pussy is an abbreviation of the word pusillanimous, which means timid in nature. It has nothing to do with female genitalia. So use that word, people.
There we go. I have an excuse now. There we go.
Yeah. You're not infringing on anyone when using that word.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh man, Drew, this has been awesome. Is there anything you want to add?
No. Other than
Cool,
we're definitely getting together to ride very soon.
Very, very soon. We'll do that as soon as possible.
All right.
Hell yeah. Thank you guys for tuning in. Join us tonight when we're talking to Chris Doyle, a legend in BMX.
Can't wait to hear it.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Peace out.